Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Gaowu. Complete martial arts attributes at the beginning. Chapter 1. Entering June, the East China Sea is already as hot as a big furnace. The sky was blue, with not a single cloud in sight, and the scorching sun hung high above the sky like a huge fireball. Donghai No. 1 Middle School. 5:30 in the afternoon. Ring ring ring. As soon as the get-out-of-class bell rang, the entire campus seemed to wake up from a deep sleep, and there was a sudden noise. After a while, a large number of students poured out from the various teaching buildings, chatting and laughing in groups and walking towards the school gate. It's too hot today. The hot weather makes people feel irritable. Brother Wang Tang, go to Rose Bar for a drink tonight. A voice pulled Wang Tang back from his thoughts to reality. Shu Jia. He looked at the person who came. The face was familiar, and the long memory welled up from the depths of his mind. This was a playmate in his high school circle. You guys play, I won't go at night, I have a headache. Wang Tang said. Shu Jia said anxiously. Don't tell me, brother Wang Tang, there are not many people in our small circle, it will be boring if you don't come, and we haven't met for a while, so, let's change the time, tomorrow. The day after tomorrow. Wang Tang shook his head and said helplessly, then tomorrow night. Okay, I'll inform Xiaowei and the others that we will meet again tomorrow night. Shu Jia smiled happily. When the two walked to the school gate, there was a sudden commotion in front of them. Hey, what's going on in front? There are so many people around. Shu Jia asked doubtfully. I gonna go see. As he said that, he had already run up, pushed through the crowd and got in front of the crowd. Wang Tang walked slowly with his hands in his pockets. When the students saw him, they stepped out of the way for fear of offending him. My young master Wang's name is really big enough. Wang Tang couldn't help laughing at himself. Too bad it doesn't have a good reputation. He walked to the front of the crowd and saw that in the open space, a girl beat several social youths with dyed yellow and green hair to the ground, crying for father and mother, looking at the girl with eyes full of fear. Combined with the surrounding discussions, he probably understood what happened. Just after school, a few yellow and green hairs met He Manrong. Seeing that she was beautiful, they couldn't help but stepped forward to tease her and said a few obscenities. They didn't expect that He Manrong was not a soft persimmon that could be squeezed, but a rose with thorns. She shot out in anger, and beat him so hard that he couldn't get up in 2 or 3 hits. Goddess, he deserves to be a high-level warrior, and those young people from society have kicked the iron plate this time. A male student next to him was waving his fist, and the pimples on his face were slightly red from being too excited. Listening to his words, it seems that He Manrong is regarded as a goddess. I heard that this He Manrong is a top student, but I never thought that she is also so powerful. Has she ever practiced Taekwondo? The legendary 9th degree black belt. However, having said that, such long legs are really rare. They only have such a good figure in high school, and they will get it in the future. Wang Tang was lamenting He Manrong's strength, and enjoying the beauty of the world by the way, when he suddenly heard the word, advanced warrior, his expression froze instantly. He was a little dazed. Did I hear something wrong? That's right, I've just been reborn, and I'm in a trance, so it's understandable for me to mishear. At this time, Shu Jia came over and said enviously, there are 5 senior warriors in our school, He Manrong is the only girl among them, and she comes from an ordinary family, what a genius. Quote. Wang Tang was speechless. God, high-level warrior, it seems that I heard it right just now. However, what's the deal with the sudden emergence of a high-powered job in a good city rebirth? Is this rebirth? Feeling the malice from all over the world, Wang Tang was full of doubts. Seeing so many people attracted, He Manrong frowned slightly, ignored the gangsters on the ground, and left directly. As soon as she left, the crowd of onlookers naturally dispersed. Wang Tang and Shu Jia parted ways at the school gate. Wang Tang found the car that came to pick him up. Amid the envy of all the students, he got into the BMW parked by the roadside and drove away. In the car, he looked at the receding street seen outside the window, a little lost in thought. Only then did he notice that the trees on both sides of the street grew extraordinarily tall, and the vegetation was very lush. These plants are overnourished, no wonder I always felt a little disobedient in school before. The vegetation in the school is also extremely lush, but but he has been immersed in the matter of rebirth, and he didn't notice it. Along the way, Wang Tang was very surprised by what he saw and heard. The clean and tidy streets, the avant-garde dress styles of passers-by, the prosperity of businesses and so on. It's not like 2009 at all, and even 2019 when he was reborn may not be able to reach this level. There is indeed a problem in this world. Wang Tang's head was in a state of confusion, when he suddenly saw an urban beauty in her 20s walking by the side of the street leading a big shaggy dog. There was nothing wrong with that, but the dog was too big, the size of a calf. He couldn't help but swear. What breed is this dog? It's so big. He took a deep breath, calmed down, and rubbed his chin in surprise. It looks like a golden retriever, but it's too big, right? Next, he saw several people holding pets. Those pet dogs are all very big, and their body size is completely beyond the standard. Some parents directly let their children ride on the big dogs to go shopping. Pet dogs have become mounts. He also saw that some pet cats had grown 2 tails, and some had also grown in size, like a cheetah. However, they all appear to be very well behaved, and the passers-by around them seem to be familiar with them, and they don't regard them as beasts at all. Wang Tang was a little numb. This is definitely not his original world. Even if the classmates are still those classmates, the school is still that school, but something is clearly off the mark. After driving for more than 20 minutes, we arrived at the Fuhua Villa area. After making several turns, the car finally stopped in front of a villa. Fortunately, my home is still here. Speaking of which, their family is considered a moderately rich man. Wang Tang's grandfather had 4 children, and his father, Wang Shengguo, was the second child in the family. He was quite capable in business. He set up his own business and established the Xingtang Group, second only to the Rongsheng Group founded by Wang Tang's grandfather. Both Xingtang Group and Rongsheng Group are large companies with assets exceeding 100 million yuan. However, Wang Tang knows that there are many such companies in the world. The Wang family may be good in this 1/3 of an acre of land, but in front of those real big consortiums, they are just bigger ants. In the last life, the Wang family offended someone and was beaten to the end. After only persisting for a month, all the companies went bankrupt. The Wang family was completely destroyed and became a thing of the past. 2 companies with over 100 million yuan sounded good, but the result was not enough for people to bite their teeth. I have to say this is a kind of irony. Wang Tang fell from the sky to the mortal world, and for the next few years, he lived a life that was not as good as a pig or a dog. He was oppressed and humiliated until he was reborn. No, maybe it wasn't rebirth. This world has changed too much. I don't know what will become of the Wang family. Even, are your parents still the original parents? Don't even change your parents as soon as you enter the door. No, no, Wang Tang quickly comforted himself. He was not at peace, so he took a few deep breaths before stepping into the gate of the villa. At this moment in 2009, the villas in Fuhua community had reached more than 20,000 yuan per square meter. The villa of Wang Tang's family is 800 square meters. It cost more than 10 million yuan to buy it at the beginning, and more than 20 million yuan for decoration. Walking into the villa, you will see a spacious hall. 2 servants are cleaning. Queen Mother Li Xiame was busy in the kitchen. She was born in a scholarly family, and was a well-known talented woman in the university when she was young, but she is not indifferent. On the contrary, her cooking skills are very superb, and Wang Tang and his son are always full of praise for the dishes she cooks. So Li Xiame cooks by herself, and prepares the dishes every day, waiting for her husband and son to come back to eat. Looking at the busy figure in the kitchen, smelling the familiar aroma of food, Wang Tang stood at the door of the kitchen with his mouth open, and it took him a long time to shout. "Mom, I'm back, I'm home." Li Xiame turned her head and said with a smile, "Wait a little longer, your father should be home soon, let's have dinner together when he comes back." "Okay, I'll wash my face first." Wang Tang rushed upstairs without looking back, and ran into the bathroom. This child, what happened today? Li Xiame shook her head. In the bathroom, Wang Tang turned on the tap and let the cold water wash over his face. Came back. Unexpectedly, after 10 years, there is still a chance to return to this home. After the Wang family was ruined, Wang Shengguo was conspired to pass away, Not long after, Li Xiame also died in depression. Wang Teng raised his head, wiped his face, looked at himself in the mirror, his eyes were a little red. 10 years has changed a lot. Wang Teng has changed, he is no longer the same as before, he can treat many people and things indifferently. But in fact, in a certain corner of his heart, there are still a few soft spots hidden, but he was unwilling to touch them before. Now that he is alive again, his heart is warm again. Wang Teng dried his face, walked out of the bathroom, followed his memory to open his bedroom, and walked in. Familiar furnishings, familiar everything. There are posters of NBA stars on the wall, music CDs and novels are stacked on the bookshelf, the desk is next to the window, not far from the bed, and there is a computer on the desk. The computer model is very new, and it is still an Apple brand, with a bright silver body that is light and stylish. Another item that doesn't fit the timeline. Seeing the computer, he suddenly thought of something, and found a mobile phone from his school bag. It really wasn't an antique from 2009, but the latest iPhone 8. Wang Teng was mentally prepared, entered the password calmly, and turned on the phone. He was suddenly very thankful that he was a person who couldn't remember the password. He had been using the same password for so many years and never changed it. Michuan, are you hungry? WeChat, Douyin. Many of the software apps in them appeared later, and there were none in 2009. When he was just reborn, he still wanted to rely on the memory of his previous life to counterattack the superior all the way, and let Jack Ma, Brother Xiao Ma and other big guys collectively sing and conquer. Well, it's over now. Exhaling, he put down his phone and turned on the computer. There is nothing more convenient than searching online. Computers and mobile phones have developed to such an extent that it makes no sense for the internet to remain as it was in 2009. Technology and the internet have never been inseparable. After turning on the computer, Wang Teng was a little surprised. The operating system of the computer is not Win 10, but the 11th generation. It seems that the level of development is not exactly the same as in 2019, and there are still differences. It took him a while to get used to it. Open the Baidu browser, search for the word, warrior, and a lot of information comes up. After more than an hour, Wang Teng closed the browser and leaned back on the chair with a look of disbelief. 30 years ago, space rifts appeared all over the world, and the other end of the rift connected to another world, Xingwu continent. Star Martial continent, there is the original force, everyone cultivates the original force to become a warrior. Warriors are extremely powerful. Low-level warriors open monuments and crack stones, draw knives to cut off water. High-level warriors destroy mountains and mountains, turn rivers and seas. This is too unreal. Wang Teng didn't know what to say. Earth scientists have conducted research on the force and found that it is likely to be a dark matter. However, they have no way of knowing why people, animals and plants in Star Martial continent can absorb dark matter to change themselves, but Earth creatures cannot. Not long after, with the appearance of space cracks, the Earth seemed to have some changes, and the creatures on the Earth began to be affected by dark matter. Plants became taller and more lush, and some long-extinct species reappeared in the world. Animals also became larger, and their physical features, such as scales, claws, teeth, etc., were also strengthened. There are even some animals with extraordinary talents that have mutated, possessing special abilities of various attributes such as gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. As the primate of all things, human beings are naturally in the scope of evolution. The human body has also become stronger, running faster, jumping higher, stronger, and lifespan, longer. Most of the old people who were in their 70s or 80s 30 years ago are still alive. They are already over 100 years old, and their mental state is no different from that of 60 or 70 years old. Earthlings are crazy. For this reason, countries around the world put aside previous suspicions and held a global joint conference. In the end, it was decided to organize people to explore the space cracks. After confirming the safety, soldiers, experts and scholars from various fields were successively dispatched to the Star Martial continent. These people are called pioneers. The Star Martial continent is vast and boundless. The pioneers claimed to be from overseas, gained the trust of the local people, and communicated and traded with them. The people on Earth did not invade wildly, but adopted the principle of peaceful coexistence and got along with the aborigines of Star Martial continent in a gentle way. Not long after, the pioneers brought back the cultivation methods of star martial continent. After research and experimentation, human beings on the earth can practice. In the end, all countries unanimously decided to disclose the cultivation methods and open the era of martial arts for all. This is a major change. Since then, history has turned a big corner and developed in an unpredictable direction. Hit the blackboard here to draw the key points, which are required for the college entrance examination. The most powerful part of human beings is wisdom. Through cultivation, human beings quickly strengthen themselves. In just a few years, a large number of powerful warriors have emerged from all over the world. Some of these fighters entered the military, some entered the government, and some belonged to various big consortiums and families, forming an alliance. Provide a path to practice. It is because of the existence of these warriors that some mutated and powerful beasts can be kept out of the city, so as not to cause large-scale impact and damage to civilized society. However, martial artist is a profession that requires talent after all. Not everyone can become a martial artist. To become a formal martial artist, one must cultivate one's physical body and solidify one's foundation. Cultivators at this stage are so-called warriors. Only when the foundation is solid enough can the original force be absorbed and stored in the body, that is, a formal warrior. If the force is compared to water, the body is a container of water, and the process of absorbing the force is like filling the container with water. Only by making the container wider and stronger can it hold more water. The training principle of warriors, in simple terms, is like this. Martial apprentices can be divided into 3 grades: beginner, middle and high according to their strength, speed and other comprehensive physical qualities. He Manrong, whom he met at the school gate before, was a high-level warrior, only one step away from a formal warrior. However, this step has stumped many people. There is a qualitative difference in whether or not the original force is absorbed into the body. A formal warrior who has cultivated the original force can fight 10 high-level warriors without the original force without any pressure. It seems that there is a gap between high-level warriors and formal warriors, but in fact it is like a gap. Moreover, poor culture and rich martial artist cultivation requires a lot of resources. Resources are expensive, ordinary people are at a disadvantage after all. All, in the face of a large base, the number of warriors is still a minority, and most of them are just slightly stronger ordinary people. However, this does not prevent warriors from becoming the mainstream. The rarity and importance of warriors have created their transcendent status. After 7 o'clock in the evening, Wang Tang's family finally sat down for dinner. Your father's car is halfway there, and the company has something to do. If you go back and forth for more than an hour, you can't go back after eating. Li Xiame complained to Wang Tang with food. Wang Tang checked the information in the room for more than an hour, but forgot to eat. Fortunately, his father happened to be late because he had something to do. It's urgent, so I can only go back and deal with it first. Wang Shengguo said helplessly. Let's ignore your dad, he's only focused on his broken company. Li Xiame rolled her eyes at Wang Shengguo. Wang Tang smiled inwardly. In fact, in high school, the relationship between Wang Tang and his father was a bit stiff. Wang Shengguo hoped that his son would become a dragon, so he was naturally strict with him, but Wang Tang was always a bit rebellious in high school, and he was also very ignorant, deeper and deeper. But thinking about it now, Wang Tang felt that some of the behaviors of his past self were childish and ridiculous. At the dinner table, both Wang Tang and Wang Shengguo seemed relatively silent, and Li Xiame was busy serving Wang Tang's dishes and doing homework with the father and son. Wang Tang enjoyed the atmosphere very much. Wang Shengguo chatted with Wang Tang for a few words, mainly asking about his studies. Wang Tang answered in a well-regulated manner, not as full of middle school breath as before, throwing chopsticks at every turn to lose his temper. Wang Shengguo was a little surprised, feeling that he was a little different today, but he didn't think much about it. After finishing his meal, he hurried out again. As the helm of a large company, he actually has a lot of things to do in a day, and he almost only sleeps 4 or 5 hours a day. Wang Tang and Li Xiame greeted each other, went out, and went straight to Jixing Martial Arts Hall. A yellow sports car is speeding on the street at night, and the roar is eye-catching. The current cars all use the original force as energy source. Gasoline has long been eliminated, and it is more environmentally friendly and cheaper. The pioneers not only brought back cultivation methods from the Star Martial continent, but also brought back various products of the Force civilization. Force runes are one of them. The combination of the Earth's technology and the Force civilization gave birth to the Force technology. Cars use the Force, and computers and mobile phones also use the newly developed Force rune chips and batteries, which run faster and last longer. Half an hour later, Wang Tang stopped in front of the martial arts hall. According to the information he found, the Polar Star Martial Art Museum is one of the 3 giants in the Huaxia region. The owner of the martial arts gym is a 12-star warrior, and his combat power can be ranked among the top 5 in China. Even on a global scale, it is also a top 20 powerhouse. Formal fighters, 1 to 9 stars are warrior level, 10 stars are quasi-warrior level, 11-star low-level warrior level, 12-star general warrior level, 13-star high-level warrior level. The strength of the owner of the Polestar Martial Arts Gym can be seen. The headquarters of Polestar Martial Arts is in Xiadu, but there are branch gyms in all major cities in China. There are many warriors and strong fighters like clouds. The Donghai branch of Polestar Martial Arts is located by the seaside, crawling there like a giant beast in the dark, covering an area comparable to a high school. The main entrance of the martial arts hall is enough for 5 or 6 cars to pass in parallel, which is very atmospheric. There is a huge boulder standing in the middle of the main entrance. On the boulder, there are several flamboyant and phoenix flying gilt characters on the boulder, which are extremely eye-catching. At the sentry box, several armed guards walked to the side of the car. Routine inspection, please cooperate. Wang Tang lowered the window, nodded, and got out of the car. The security guards checked the interior of the sports car and scanned Wang Tang's whole body with a scanner, checking very carefully. At the same time, Wang Tang was also looking at the guards. They were wearing black protective vests, and the firearms in their hands were obviously large-caliber machine guns, which looked hideous. The original Force rune is engraved on the body of the gun, indicating that it is an original Force gun, and its power is several times stronger than that of ordinary guns. Even if a formal warrior is shot head-on, it will be crippled. After the inspection, the guard releases it. Wang Tang parked the car and walked on the road in the Wugwan courtyard. Even though it was past 8 o'clock, it was still as bright as day in the martial arts hall. There were a large number of martial arts students on the road and on the lawn. There are also many people training at night. Every second counts in the training of warriors. Talent is only the most basic condition, and continuous hard work and sweat are required to achieve success. There are 3 tall buildings in the martial arts hall. They are silvery white overall, with distinctive features and very recognizable. The one in the middle is the administrative building, rectangular in shape, 100 meters high, straight into the sky, but the top is a weird semicircle. On the left is the warrior teaching building, and on the right is the warrior training building. These 2 buildings are like 2 huge spheres, not high, only 3 floors, but the interior is very wide, at least twice the size of the playground of Donghai No. 1 middle school. Putting the 3 buildings together, Wang Tang wondered if this was to show the owner's bad taste. Wang Tang had done some research before coming here, so he went straight to the administrative building. Under the guidance of the staff, sign up as a martial arts student, and then go to the martial arts teaching building on the left. The martial arts school will only recruit students between the ages of 16 and 30 to avoid wasting resources. Wang Tang is only 17 years old, so there is no problem. Walking into the martial arts teaching building, the noise in the hall came to the face. The first floor is where junior students train. The junior students correspond to junior warriors. There are more than 3,000 junior warriors in Jixing Martial Arts Hall. In the training hall on the first floor, the students were practicing individually, which seemed very lively. Just as Wang Tang entered the hall, he froze in place. What did he see? There are as many as 40 or 50 transparent bubbles floating in the air all over the place. Power 1. Speed 3. Constitution 1. Perception 0.5. Power *2. Wang Tang blinked vigorously. Those bubbles still existed, and the students in the training hall seemed to be unable to see them. Goldfinger. He was a little uncertain, and stopped a passing student. What? The other party was only 16 or 17 years old, and looked at Wang Tang impatiently, with an unhappy expression of, "You are more handsome than me. Brother, your floor is well laid. Wang Tang said, pointing at the ground. Those transparent bubbles float at the height of a person's calf, and they can be seen as soon as they lower their heads. But the student completely ignored it and said with disgust, "This is the best plastic floor, engraved with the runes of the original force, with shock absorption, durability, anti-shock and other functions. Where did it come from? I have no knowledge at all." After speaking, he shook his hand and left without looking back. Wang Tang rubbed his chin to see the other party's reaction. Obviously he couldn't see it, so only he could see it. Those students walked back and forth in the training hall, and some passed directly through the bubbles. To them, those bubbles seemed unreal. Wang Tang stepped forward, approached the bubble closest to him, and tried to see if he could pass through it. As a result, the bubble disappeared as soon as it was touched. His eyes suddenly blurred, and a transparent panel jumped out. Perception, 18. Physique, 41. Power, 50 plus 1. Speed, 32. Staring at the transparent panel, Wang Tang's heart beat faster and faster, as if it was about to pop out of his throat. So exciting. Wang Tang felt that even if he won the 100 million lottery, he might not be so excited. But now he can't help it. This special meow is definitely a golden finger. In this era where warriors are the mainstream, becoming stronger is the only way out. This golden finger can pick up attributes and then turn them into their own attributes. This effect is too heaven-defying. Others have to work hard, but Wang Tang only needs to pick up attributes. He seems to see an unimpeded path to heaven open before him. One day, he, Wang Tang, will skyrocket to 90,000 miles. Wang Tang came to Jixing Martial Arts Gym originally to practice. Now I am busy picking up attributes. He felt like a trash picker, diligently picking up things dropped by others. He observed it before, and the transparent bubbles on the ground were all dropped by the students in the martial arts gym during the training process. There are many trainees in the martial arts gym, so there are also many attribute bubbles dropped. But there was one thing that made Wang Tang very sad. The existence of air bubbles is limited in time and will disappear after a few minutes. He was stunned for a while just now, and several bubbles disappeared, but his heart was broken, and he felt that he had lost hundreds of millions. The trainees continued to train, and occasionally dropped a few attribute bubbles. Wang Tang was very happy to pick it up, and his attribute, Sang Sang Sang, went up as if he didn't need money. Seeing him running around like a headless chicken in the training hall, a warrior instructor couldn't stand it anymore and called him to stop. "Hey, that classmate, you didn't train well when you came to the martial arts hall, why are you running around?" "Teacher, I just came here today to see how everyone trains. The ancients said that threesomes must have my teacher. I will learn from everyone first." Wang Tang looked at the martial apprentice mentor, smiling and talking nonsense. "Just here, then come here, I'll teach you National 9th radio gymnastics first. Now you don't know anything, it's useless to read, let's learn the basics well," the instructor said. Wang Tang thought about it, and felt that what he said made sense, and this mentor was still very responsible. With reluctance, he glanced at the few attribute bubbles that had just dropped in the training hall, as if they were leaving him by hundreds of millions. "Teacher, what kind of exercise is 9th National Radio Gymnastics?" Wang Tang walked over and asked curiously. National 9th Broadcast Gymnastics is a scientific exercise method developed by the country in combination with the basic exercise method of Star Martial Continent, the instructor said and turned on the stereo. "National 9th Broadcast Gymnastics, Martial Youth, start now." Wang Tang had a meal all over his body. The music sounded, it was the familiar smell, and the familiar preparatory action. Look carefully. The tall and strong instructor is at least 1.8 meters tall, with terrifying muscles all over his body. At this time, he looks serious and is doing preparatory actions. Wang Tang was dumbfounded. The instructor has already started practicing gymnastics on the radio along with the music. First pose, stretching exercise, 1 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4. Second pose, chest expansion exercise, 1 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4. The third form, kicking, 1 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4. Wang Tang stared blankly at the other party, and in his mind, countless grass and mud horses were galloping crazily, and he couldn't stop them. Shen Miao broadcasts gymnastics. Although he also found that although the names are still those names, the movements are much more complicated, and some difficult movements are very demanding on the body. It seems, it can really play a role in body training. However, this music, this rhythm, and this familiar feeling are really shameful. How about it? Have you seen it clearly? If you don't see it clearly, I will rehearse it for you again. The music stopped, and the instructor also slowly stopped his movements and let out a long breath. There was a lot of hot sweat on his forehead, and the effect of National 9th radio gymnastics was amazing. Teacher, I see it clearly. Wang Tang nodded quickly, for fear that he would really do it again. Judging from his unfinished look, it is likely that he will do what he says, and he is not kidding. Oh, it seems that you have a good memory. I only remembered it after reading it 3 times. The tutor said with some disappointment. Khan, what's the matter with your disappointed look? You are addicted to doing gymnastics. Wang Tang persuaded the mentor away like a plague god, and asked him to harm other students, and they were very happy. What about National 9th Broadcasting Gymnastics? I, Wang Tang, will never practice, even if killed. In this life, I can only become stronger by picking up attributes. Taking advantage of the mentor's inattention, Wang Tang continued his great career of picking attributes. Power *2. Speed 1. Perception 0.2. Basic Boxing 5. Wang Tang was very happy. He picked up a lot of strength and speed attributes. He hadn't tried it, and he didn't know what level of strength he had reached. However, when he was walking in the training hall, he obviously felt that his speed was much faster, and he jumped a few meters by accident. Far. Savvy. The attributes are a little bit small, and they are all a few tenths. Only a few can add up to make up a little. With the attribute of savvy increasing, does it make me smarter, and I don't feel anything? Wang Tang thought. Etc. Basic Boxing 5. A different bubble was absorbed by Wang Tang, and many memories of practicing boxing suddenly appeared in his mind. Basic boxing, I will know it now. Wang Tang was a little incredulous. In the martial arts stage, one does not have the original force and cannot practice the original force combat skills. So the country summed up many basic combat skills, including body skills, boxing skills, sword skills, knife skills, and so on. Then spread it out so that the whole people can practice it. Wang Tang looked at the young man in his 20s who was practicing basic boxing not far in front of him. His eyes sparkled. Although he has learned the basic boxing techniques, he is obviously not yet proficient. He has just mastered them. It is very rough, which is equivalent to the level of ordinary people who have practiced for 4 or 5 days. However, picking up more basic boxing attributes should improve proficiency, right? Bang bang bang. The young man punched the sandbag vigorously, and the sandbag swayed from side to side, and every punch made the sandbag dent. Powerful. Sure enough, warriors are the way out. Why don't you drop it? Hey, it fell again. Wang Tang was a little excited, and secretly touched it from behind, picked up the attribute inadvertently, and then slipped away. Basic Boxing 7. Strength 5. This young man is very promising. Very promising, Wang Tang exclaimed. His basic boxing skills are really more proficient. After waiting for a while, Wang Tang had no choice but to turn to other students when he saw that the other party did not lose any more attributes. Only children make choices. My lord, want them all. I, Wang Tang, am a grown-up. Basic movement *2. The training hall is surrounded by a running track, like a playground. A fat man ran across the track, blowing Wang Tang's hair like a gust of wind. Drops a bubble behind the butt. Confirmed the body type, he is a flexible fat man. Basic agility. When Wang Tang picked up the attribute, he was suddenly taken aback. It was another basic combat skill, and it was still agility. This is a bit of luck. The fat man ran tirelessly, and the back of his butt seemed like a hen laying eggs, and bubbles fell down one by one. So much. Wang Tang was startled again. Based on the principle of never wasting anything, he ran after him and picked it up. The newly added speed attribute played a role, supporting Wang Tang to hang behind the fat man, running with some joy. Speed 1. Speed 1. Speed 1. Basic movement *3. Speed 1. Ha. Why are you following me? The fat man stopped, stuck out his tongue, and stared at Wang Tang and asked. Who is following you? I'm practicing agility. Don't be sentimental. Wang Tang also stared. You. What are you? I won't run away, you can run by yourself. The fat man was in a hurry, but he had nothing to do with Wang Tang. Don't. Just run a few more times, I think you have a bright future, don't give up easily. Wang Tang Wan stayed. Quote. Fatty. At 11 o'clock, the night was deep. Wang Tang left the Jixing martial arts gym with an unsatisfactory expression on his face. Others trained all night, but he spent the whole night hanging out. Hang out. Bah, how can you say that the martial artists' matter is a mess? The other martial arts students also left one after another, and Wang Tang was the last batch. It's not how hard he worked, but in order not to miss any attribute bubbles, well, this is also a kind of effort. Wang Tang drove on the deserted streets. Perception, 19.3. Physique, 47. Power, 135. Speed, 86. Combat skills. Basic boxing, rough proficiency, basic agility, rough proficiency. Glancing at the properties panel, I was satisfied. From the initial single digit to the current double digit and three-digit attributes, the changes are undoubtedly huge. Strength and speed are improved the most, while comprehension and constitution are relatively small. It is not difficult to see that there are certain differences in the probability of various attributes falling. To his surprise, he also got basic boxing skills and basic body skills tonight. For a warrior, it is not enough to have a strong body. He must learn combat skills in order to display his due strength. Come back to the martial arts hall tomorrow to test and see how far I can go. Wang Tang thought. Back home, Li Xiame prepared a supper. Wang Shengguo was eating, and when he saw Wang Tang coming back, he frowned and asked, "It's so late, where have you been?" "I went to Jixing Martial Arts Hall." Wang Tang replied casually. Then he said to Li Xiame, "Mom, you cooked egg noodles, do you save some for me? I'm hungry." "Yes, I'll keep it for you." Li Xiame is very happy that her son likes what she cooks. Suck. Wang Tang took the bowl, sat next to Wang Shengguo, and ate it with big mouthfuls. It was very delicious. Wang Shengguo didn't smell the smell of alcohol on Wang Tang, his brows loosened slightly, and he asked in surprise, "What are you doing in the martial arts hall?" "I'm off to practice martial arts," Wang Tang said without raising his head. Practice martial arts. Practice martial arts. Both Wang Shengguo and Li Xiame were taken aback. They couldn't help but look at each other, and then looked at Wang Tang together. They had persuaded Wang Tang before, but Wang Tang was spoiled since he was a child, and he was ignorant, so he didn't take their words at all. Now he actually wants to learn martial arts on his own initiative. "Son, do you want to practice martial arts?" Li Xiame asked in disbelief. "Yes," Wang Tang nodded. "Son, are you in a relationship?" Li Xiame asked suspiciously. Wang Tang was taken aback. "When did I fall in love? I do not know how." "Didn't you dislike martial arts before?" Wang Shengguo asked. "It's no big deal. Now that I figured it out, I will practice naturally," Wang Tang said with a casual look. "It's that simple." Wang Shengguo and Li Xiame looked at each other again. "Okay, since you want to practice martial arts, I'll hire you a good teacher to teach you." Seeing that Wang Tang was not joking, Wang Shengguo clapped his hands happily and said, "Dad, please don't invite the teacher first. Martial arts requires talent. I want to practice by myself." Wang Tang immediately refused. What teacher can compare to his golden finger? At most, his father could invite a high-level martial artist to be his teacher, and with his wealth, a martial artist would definitely not be able to afford it. Learning from a high-level warrior, it is better to spend more time picking up attributes. Asking the teacher is a waste of money. In today's era of warriors, even hiring a high-level warrior is not cheap. Wang Shengguo didn't force it, nodded and said, "It's okay, there are also instructors in the martial arts gym." As one of the three giants in the Huasha Martial Arts Gym, Jixing Martial Arts Hall, their instructors are not bad. "You study hard. I don't expect you to become a warrior. As long as you can cultivate to a high-level warrior, your physical fitness will be greatly improved, and your lifespan will also increase a lot. Your body is your capital. If you have a good body, you will get twice the result with half the effort." In fact, He was also afraid that Wang Tang would be too hot for 3 minutes. He would not be able to endure hardships within 2 days, and he would stop practicing. It's better to let Wang Tang practice for a period of time by himself first, and if he can really persevere, it's not too late to make plans. Understood, Dad. Wang Tang secretly laughed in his heart. His dad just likes to preach, but before, he wouldn't listen to it at all. But, senior warrior, I have a golden finger, let alone a formal warrior, even a warrior-level warrior is not impossible. It's just that I'm afraid to say it and scare him. Wang Shengguo felt relieved and felt that Wang Tang had matured a lot. Could it be that he really fell in love? Son, you are also 17 years old. If you really fall in love, we have no objection. Do you have enough pocket money? Wang Tang was a little confused. We can't get around this hurdle, can we? Mom and Dad, I really haven't fallen in love. If I did, I'll definitely bring it back for you to see right away. He said helplessly. It's a pity. Li Xiame was a little disappointed. Wang Shengguo nodded in agreement. Quote. Wang Tang said speechlessly, Mom, I'm just 17 years old, so I'm only here. It's not too early. Now you can get a marriage certificate at the age of 18. Let's talk now, cultivate relationships, and get married in a year. Li Xiame said. You can get married at the age of 18. Wang Tang was shocked. In the age of martial arts, are you so happy? Mom, I've finished eating. I'm going upstairs to take a shower and go to bed. He ran upstairs as if escaping, and if he talked to his mother for a while, he might even come out with his son. That's the guy. This child. Husband, I think the girl from the Tang family is pretty good. Do you want to go to her house some other day and ask? Downstairs, Li Xiame was still talking to Wang Shengguo. Fortunately, Wang Tang didn't hear it, otherwise I'm afraid I'd be scared to pee. The girl from the Tang family is at least 200 caddies, my mother. The next day, early in the morning, Wang Shengguo was eating breakfast, buns, fried dough sticks, soy milk. Although simple, it is the favorite of Chinese people. Wang Tang came down from upstairs. Because it is Saturday, there is no class, and the time can be arranged freely. After breakfast, Wang Tang greeted his parents and hurried out the door. Wang Shengguo was relieved again, and said to Li Xiame, let the servant buy some star beast meat today. Xiao Tang will practice martial arts, and eating star beast meat will help improve his physical fitness. Pole star martial arts. Wang Tang came very early. There were only 3 or 2 students in the training hall, and these people were very diligent. They were a little surprised to see Wang Tang's new face. However, Wang Tang's diligence won their approval, and several students nodded kindly, thinking that Wang Tang should be the same kind of person as them. Wang Tang also felt that he was very hardworking, but few people came and there were very few bubbles. He stepped forward to greet several students one by one, and picked up the attributes by the way. Yes, just by the way. I, Wang Tang, am a polite person. Greetings are the real purpose. Basic Boxing 6, Strength 4, Speed 3, Basic Swordsmanship 4. Wow, the attributes are so rich, and there are basic boxing skills, basic sword skills, and a basic combat skill. Sure enough, the early bird gets the worm. The students in the martial arts hall are all talents, they speak nicely, and they lose a lot of attributes. I really like them. After Wang Tang picked up a few attribute bubbles, he ran to the corner to see if those students would fall again in a while. Several test machines are placed there. Dynamometers, speedometers, physical fitness detectors, etc. These are all machines for examining the physical fitness of warriors. They are relatively standard, and the error is extremely small. Wang Tang came to the dynamometer first. He has already learned basic boxing techniques, which is equivalent to mastering the most basic force-exerting skills. Others need at least a month, even a genius, it takes about 10 days, but Wang Tang only spent 1 night. The distance is just a few attribute bubbles. The shortest distance in the world is this, and no one else dares to think about it. Wang Tang stood still slowly, took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and relaxed. He suddenly opened his eyes, his gaze fixed, as if a wild animal that was hunting suddenly jumped up, his legs firmly grasped the ground, his waist and hips moved slightly, his back and spine tensed like a bowstring, and he punched out. Boom! Wang Tang's fist hit the dynamometer directly. The numbers on the screen of the dynamometer jumped wildly, and finally settled on a value 143 kilograms. When he went home last night, his strength attribute was 135, and he just got another 8 points. The total is 143, which corresponds to 143 kilogram. This power is close to the limit of ordinary people. Attention, it is extreme strength. A person who is driven to a desperate situation may be able to exert strength beyond the limit of his body, but for ordinary people, it is very difficult. Very difficult. Thinking about it now, at first his strength attribute was 50, almost equivalent to the strength of an ordinary person. Fortunately, I am not Zonwuskam. Wang Tang comforted himself, then turned on the speedometer and stood up. The speedometer is like a treadmill. As the tester runs, the tire belt below rotates to measure the speed. Wang Tang started to run slowly, then slowly accelerated until reaching the peak. The speedometer will display the fastest speed of the tester. After Wang Tang felt that he had reached the fastest speed, he stopped slowly and stepped off the speedometer. He looked at the value displayed on the speedometer, 12.7 meters per second. Obviously, speed and attributes are not equal. As for how to convert the two, Wang Tang doesn't seem to care. It's just that the numbers are different. Wang Tang was a little surprised by the speed he just tested. This has already caught up with the previous world 100-meter running champion, right? The body of a warrior is so terrifying, let alone a warrior. Look at your physique again. The physical fitness detector stands upright in the corner like a hibernation cabin in a sci-fi movie. Wang Tang walked in, pressed the test button, and a beam of light scanned his body several times from head to toe. The physical fitness test includes comprehensive elements such as blood, muscles, bones, meridians, etc. It is very complicated and can only be done with high technology. Ding, the scan is over. Student Wang Tang has a physique of 47. A beautiful female voice came from the physical fitness tester. Tisk tisk, it also has a voice broadcast function. Wang Tang lamented that the physical fitness tester was more advanced than the dynamometer and speedometer, and he couldn't help muttering. Physique 47 corresponds to the physical attribute. It seems that only the speed is different. I looked at the warrior classification list posted on the wall next to it. The standard for low-level martial arts is 100 kg to 300 kg in strength, 9 to 7 seconds in speed per 100 meters, that is, 11.11 meters per second to 14.28 meters per second, and 30 to 50 in physique. Obviously, Wang Tang is already a low-level martial artist. He is quite satisfied with the result. Do you still want to go to heaven if you are not satisfied? After all, from an ordinary person to a low-level warrior, he didn't know how much time he saved compared to others. To be a man is to be content. Strive to become an intermediate warrior today. Wang Tang was full of interest, and decided not to go anywhere, spending the whole day in the training hall. Those students were training independently and did not pay attention to Wang Tang's test results. After all, they are only meeting each other for the first time today, and they don't have much friendship, so it's impolite to pry into other people's strength rashly. Just when Wang Tang was just testing, several attribute bubbles fell from the feet of several students. Wang Tang's eyes lit up, he casually walked past them, and picked them up quietly. Basic Swordsmanship 3, Strength 5, Perception 0.6, Speed *2. Not bad, not bad, he still has comprehension, and he is proficient in basic swordsmanship. Wang Tang secretly pleased. At this time, there were too few people, and Wang Tang didn't want to be too independent and attract attention. He walked into the weapon room and glanced over. There are many weapons on the armory cabinet, such as swords, knives, guns, halberds, sticks, hammers and so on. There are many small categories of weapons in the same category, such as swords, long swords, short swords, soft swords, two-handed swords, etc. It can be said that there are a wide variety of weapons here. Even if the weapons learned by the students are far away, they can find the weapons they need in this weapon room. Wang Tang stood in front of the cabinet where the swords were placed, and took down a Shadow Series black iron sword. With the prevalence of martial arts, the weapons industry naturally developed accordingly. After all, weapons are too important to warriors. A warrior with a sharp weapon has an advantage when confronting a warrior without a weapon. However, the weapons provided to the warriors are all imitation weapons, the materials are average, and there are no runes attached. This black iron sword from the Shadow series is completely black, and its standard and weight are the same as the genuine ones, but there are no mysterious runes on its body. Really want to make a comparison? The cost of this sword is only a few hundred yuan, while the authentic product costs hundreds of thousands, which is a huge difference. Wang Teng shook the black iron sword in his hand, the weight was just right. Boys will have a preference and yearning for all kinds of weapons. Many people have even dreamed of traveling the world with a sword. The previous life was a technological society, there was no martial arts, Wang Teng had no chance to touch these. Now he looked at the long sword in his hand, and was a little delighted. Before he obtained the basic sword art attribute, he had some understanding of the basic sword art. Before anyone else came to train and there were no bubbles to pick up, he just went out to practice and see the power of this basic sword art. He walked out of the weapon room, found an empty space, and practiced sword skills according to the extra memory of sword skills in his mind. Shua, shua, shua. The long sword swung, making a slight sound of piercing the air. If this is cut on a person's body, either death or injury. Among the few students, the young man who provided Wang Teng with the basic sword art attribute was also practicing swords. He was a little surprised when he saw Wang Teng coming out with a long sword. So he slowly closed his momentum and watched Wang Teng's rehearsal from a distance. It turned out to be just a beginner. However, after taking a second glance, he shook his head and stopped paying attention. Why doesn't it feel too difficult? After practicing twice, I'm much more proficient. My comprehension is only 19.3, which is not very high. Wang Teng stopped, thinking in surprise. He didn't know that his 19.3 comprehension ability was much higher than that of ordinary people. Of course, he wouldn't find it too difficult to practice basic things. If it is to learn the original force combat skills, it is impossible to be so easy. The original force combat technique involves the use of the original force, which is relatively profound and complicated. If the understanding is not enough, it will be very difficult to practice. From this, it can be seen that the cultivation of martial arts really values talent, and those who can become warriors must be geniuses. After practicing sword for a while, Wang Teng put it back in the weapons room. After coming out, he switched to boxing. The student who practiced sword shook his head again when he saw it. The practice of martial arts is about quality rather than quantity. Wang Teng practiced sword twice and then practiced boxing. It would be better to practice only one, otherwise, in the end, he would definitely not be able to practice both well. This newcomer is diligent, but a little stupid. Wang Teng didn't know that he was labeled stupid. He practiced boxing twice and felt that he had mastered the basic boxing skills a little more. Well, the effect was good. Turning his head, he saw a tall figure standing next to him with his arms folded. It seemed that he had been watching for a while. Teacher, when did you come? Why didn't you say anything? I was shocked. This figure was the martial arts instructor who taught Wang Teng the 9th set of national radio gymnastics last night. Now Wang Teng still felt a little scalp numb when he saw him. Young man, I see you have been practicing for a while. Your punches are good. The instructor gave Wang Teng a thumbs up. Thank you for the compliment. Wang Teng was embarrassed and said, Teacher, my name is Wang Teng, and I don't know your name yet. My name is Peng Hai, and you don't have to call me teacher, just call me Brother Peng. Peng Hai said. Brother Peng. Wang Teng followed suit and then asked, Are you here so early too? I don't have enough talent. I'm in my 20s and still a high-level martial artist. I can only rely on hard work. Peng Hai said disappointedly. Wang Teng suddenly didn't know what to say. Ha ha ha, don't mind, I'm just complaining casually. Wang Teng, you have good talent and are willing to work hard. I believe that in less than 3 years, you will definitely become a martial artist. Come on, Peng Hai encouraged. 3 years? No, about 3 days will be enough. Wang Teng thought so, but he could only nod and said, I will work hard, senior brother Peng. Okay, I'll go to the 3rd floor for training. Today, other senior martial artists will be responsible for guiding you. Of course, you can always find me if you have any questions. Peng Hai said. What a passionate senior brother. Wang Tang looked at him going up to the third floor and couldn't help but sigh. Not long after, students arrived one after another, and the training hall gradually became lively. Senior brother. Morning, senior brother. Senior sister, you are still so beautiful today. The familiar people greeted each other, and then started to practice. Everyone's time was precious and they raced against time. Wang Tang looked at them and suddenly felt that these students were like big, fluffy fat sheep. They had a lot of hair on their bodies, and they couldn't pluck all the hair. Great, he couldn't help but reveal a smile like an old father at the corner of his mouth. When they are fat, they can be slaughtered. Bah, such a good sheep is not for slaughter, they must be plucked all the time. As everyone began to train enthusiastically, bubbles of various attributes fell one after another. Soon the training hall turned into a sea of bubbles. Wang Tang happily wandered in it. I am a wool party, I am wooling. Quote. He did not dare to sing this song out loud, for fear of being beaten to death, but he just made a fortune quietly while singing silently in his heart. If there is a prompt sound at this time, it must be like this. Strength 2 and Speed 6 dropped in front, you picked them up, your strength and speed have improved. Basic Boxing 2 dropped in front, you picked it up, your basic boxing has become more proficient. Comprehension 1 and Physique 3 dropped in front, you picked it up, your comprehension and physique have improved. There are more people training on Saturday than last night. Wang Tang completely underestimated the number of attributes dropped by everyone, or in other words, he underestimated the degree of hard work of everyone. The harder the students train, the greater the probability of dropping attributes. It's like milking, the harder you squeeze, the more you get. After a whole day, he actually completed the transformation from a low-level martial artist to an intermediate martial artist. Whether it is strength, speed, or physique, they have all broken through the threshold standard of intermediate martial artists, without any water. Not only that, his basic boxing, basic body skills, and basic sword skills have all reached a small success. Combat skills can be divided into rough, proficient, small success, great success, and subtlety according to proficiency. Reaching proficiency, you can already exert the power of combat skills. Small success is more advantageous, and the power is at least twice as strong. And if you reach great success or even subtlety, the power will be several times stronger. In addition, Wang Tang also got the basic sword skills and pushed it to the proficiency level. The harvest is not small. In the evening, it was time for dinner. The students had been training for a day and were already hungry. They packed up and left the training hall one after another. At this time, Wang Tang was inspecting the results in the corner. He held the black iron sword, coordinated his body movements, moved around, swung the long sword, and made a sound of tearing the air. The young man who practiced sword in the morning was returning the sword and walking out of the weapon room. He happened to pass by Wang Tang and took a casual look. This, he was shocked, his mouth opened wide, and he rubbed his eyes hard, as if he suspected that he had hallucinations. This is definitely not the basic swordsmanship of proficiency, small success, it must be small success. He himself is proficient, although he has not reached small success, but he still has vision. But how is this possible? In the morning, he saw Wang Tang training, and he was just a beginner, and his swordsmanship was very rough. A day later, he saw that he had reached small success. This must be a joke, right? Is there really such a genius in the world? He felt that he was going to doubt his life. He laughed at others for being stupid in the morning, but now thinking about it, it seems a bit ridiculous. Crazy. The young man looked downcast, smiled bitterly and shook his head, and walked out of the training hall. Wang Tang didn't realize that there was such a person. He practiced the knife, sword, fist, and body skills, and felt a sense of freedom all over his body. He slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air and put the weapon back into the weapon room. While walking towards the underground parking lot of the martial arts hall, he called out the attribute panel. Comprehension, 28, Constitution, 52, Strength, 455, Speed, 185, Combat skills, Basic boxing, minor success, basic body skills, minor success, basic sword skills, minor success, basic sword skills, proficient. Today's harvest is full. Wang Tang drove home with a smile on his face. At home, Li Xiame was cooking, and the rich smell of meat wafted out from the kitchen, and Wang Tang's stomach immediately growled. Mom, what delicious food did you cook today? It smells so good. He walked into the kitchen and asked. Your dad specifically asked me to buy you the star beast meat. Li Xiame smiled. Really? My dad invested so much money. Wang Tang was surprised. Star beasts are wild beasts that are affected by the Force and mutated. They are named because the Force was born in the universe. Their meat is very nutritious, incomparable to ordinary beasts, and the price is very expensive. It smells so good, let me try it. He saw a plate of braised pork on the stove, saliva was secreted, and he couldn't help but pick up a piece and put it in his mouth. Well, it's so delicious, Mom, you are a great cook. Oh, you are really a starving ghost reincarnated, and you are sweating all over, why don't you take a shower quickly? Li Xiame drove him out of the kitchen. After 6 o'clock, Wang Shengguo returned home. Li Xiame asked Aunt Chen, the servant, to ask Wang Tang to go downstairs for dinner. Wang Tang just took a shower, changed his clothes, and was blowing his hair with a hair dryer. Got it, Aunt Chen, I'll go down right away. He answered casually. After becoming a warrior, even his hearing improved a lot, and the noise of the hair dryer didn't affect him at all. In less than a minute, he finished drying his hair, unplugged it, and went downstairs to eat. Wang Shengguo and Li Xiame are waiting for him. There are several bowls of dishes on the table, steaming hot and fragrant. The family sits around and eats together. Son, how are you doing today? Li Xiame asked what Wang Shengguo wanted to ask most, and he looked at Wang Tang eagerly. Having said that, it is not easy for Wang Shengguo to be a father. His friends usually show him how good his sons and daughters are, and so's children become intermediate warriors, advanced warriors, etc. Only Wang Shengguo can't say it, thinking that he is the boss of a large company with assets worth over 100 million yuan, but his son is ignorant. If you say it, you will definitely be laughed at. Now his son has finally come to his senses and is willing to practice martial arts. When he really becomes a high-level martial artist, he can go out and talk about it. It's okay, the martial arts brother said that I still have talent. Wang Tang said. He didn't tell his parents that he was already an intermediate martial artist, and that the happiness would come too suddenly, lest they faint with joy. Tell them later on slowly. It's good to have talent, it's good to have talent. Wang Shengguo narrowed his happy eyes, waved his big hand and said, practice hard. Although our Wang family is not a wealthy family, at least it is much better than ordinary people. Don't worry about the resources for martial arts. Wang Tang nodded and didn't say much. He is not very worried about resources. Others may need various martial arts resources, but he is not very dependent. With the golden finger in hand, other people's resources are his resources. Come on, eat more, you must be hungry and tired after a day of practice. Compared with whether Wang Tang can become a warrior, Li Xiame is more concerned about whether he suffers or not. Seeing Wang Tang gobble up, she feels a little distressed. Wang Tang didn't even bother to talk, he had to say that the star beast meat was really delicious, fat but not greasy, it melted in the mouth. After eating it, it seems that there is a warm current flowing through the limbs and bones, relieving fatigue. Li Xiame and Wang Shengguo also ate a little, but they didn't dare to eat more. After all, they didn't practice martial arts, and they ate too much, and it was too much. Ordinary people in the age of martial arts, although under the influence of the original force, their physical fitness has improved a lot, but that is the long-term subtle influence. After eating, Wang Tang was about to go to Jixing Martial Arts Hall when his cell phone rang. After picking it up, Shu Jia's voice came out. Brother Wang Tang, we are already at Rose Bar, come here quickly. Wang Tang finally remembered this matter that he had forgotten for a long time. He couldn't help but smiled bitterly, and said, okay, wait, I'll be there soon. Looks like I won't be able to go to Jixing Martial Arts Hall tonight. Wang Tang felt a little regretful, but he also knew that it was impossible to spend every day in the martial arts gym. Just relax. Wang Tang greeted his parents and went out. Boom boom boom. The sports car roars on the street, whether it is the streamlined body or the huge roar, it is the focus of passers-by's eyes. Nanchang Bar Street. There are many bar streets in Donghai, and the one in Nanchang is the most prosperous. A large number of bars gather here, different types, different styles, and even different price points. Popular bars are suitable for low-end consumers, while high-end bars are suitable for the elite class of society or the children of rich families. Although I don't want to say this, people are indeed divided into different classes invisibly. Every night, the street lights of the bar are full of feasting, bright neon lights, gorgeous light and shadow intertwined, converging into a dreamlike spectacle. Young urban men and women are burdened with heavy work during the day and are under pressure. They hope to find a place to relax at night. Social pressure has never disappeared. In the age of martial arts, the pressure is even heavier. They need catharsis. Of course, for people like Wang Tang, it was nothing more than a place to have fun. Outside Rose Bar, there were a lot of sports cars and luxury cars parked. After searching for a long time, Wang Tang finally found an empty parking space to park the car, and then walked into the bar. Boom! A door separates the inside and outside of the bar into two worlds. The moment the door was opened, the explosive music, the sound of handsome men and women talking and laughing, and the flickering light gathered together, impacting Wang Tang's eardrums and eyes. What a familiar feeling! In the previous life, Wang Tang never came to the bar after the defeat of the Wang family. He seemed to have been kicked out of this noisy world. But now, he's back. Wang Tang strode into the Rose Bar, with a handsome face and brand-name clothing. In addition, after becoming a martial artist for 2 days, his body has become strong and straight, and his mental outlook has taken on a new look. The whole person is like a diamond in the sand, which is extraordinarily bright and dazzling. Many women's eyes were attracted by him, and they seemed a little interested. Wang Tang used to be an old bacon, but now he is a real fresh meat. His appearance is a little immature, but his temperament is completely different. In his previous life, he experienced many things, life ups and downs. I have enjoyed wealth, but I have also experienced poverty. He used to be high-spirited and successful at a young age, but he was also depraved and depressed. And his rich experience has created his calm temperament, which makes it easy for people to have a good impression at first sight. Wang Tang scanned the bar, looking for Xu Jia and others. At this time, a voice came from the left. "Brother Wang Tang, here, here." Wang Tang saw the girl who was waving towards him, Bai Wei, a little sister in their circle. With a ball head tied, she looks playful and charming. Wang Tang still remembered that when she became an adult, this little girl looked so disastrous to the country and the people. I don't know how many men were fascinated by her. You guys came early enough. Bai Wei made room for Wang Tang, and Wang Tang sat down beside her. "Brother Wang Tang, you are late," Xu Jia complained. "It's just the beginning of the long night, why come so early?" Wang Tang laughed. "Brother Wang Tang." Another boy also greeted Wang Tang. "You how, it's been a long time." Wang Tang looked at him. "I was caught by my dad recently, so I sneaked out today." Yu Hao said helplessly. This kid was caught by his father to practice martial arts. Xu Jia smiled gloatingly. "Oh, how's your practice going?" Wang Tang asked in surprise. "I'm already a low-level warrior." Yu Hao rubbed his head and said embarrassedly. "You kid, you became a low-level warrior without making a sound." Xu Jia exclaimed. Obviously he didn't know the news yet. "Among us, you are the only one who has become a warrior. If you are bullied in the future, you will all be looking for you." Immediately, he put his arms around Yu Hao's shoulders and laughed. "Little mouse, I'll depend on you from now on." Bai Wei echoed with a smile. Yu Hao was a little proud of what they said, especially Bai Wei's affirmation made him very happy. A few people walked recently, and there was inevitably some hazy affection between men and women. This is how Yu Hao treated Bai Wei. Wang Tang smiled and asked, "Why didn't you see Yuan Zhenghua?" Several people were silent for a while. "He won't come," Xu Jia sneered. "Huh, what's going on?" Wang Tang asked with a frown. "That guy climbed up to Li Rongcheng of the Li family and became his lackey." Xu Jia pouted. Li Rongcheng. Wang Tang thought for a while, and finally remembered such a person from the depths of his memory. The families of Wang Tang and the others are almost the same. Their fathers also know each other, and they have business contacts with each other, so they naturally formed a small circle. And the Li family that Li Rongcheng belongs to is not a small family in Donghai, much stronger than theirs. Yuan Zhenghua and Li Rongcheng got closer, and in Xu Jia's view, it was as if they had climbed onto each other's thighs. Their rich second-generation circles are like this. Only when they are similar in strength can they be called friends. The difference is too much, but it becomes clinging. Let's not talk about him. Everyone has his own ambition, there is nothing to talk about. Wang Tang said indifferently. Yes, let's not talk about that kid, I will get angry when I mention him. Xu Jia said. A few people changed the topic, ordered wine and fruit plate, talked and laughed, and Wang Tang gradually regained the feeling of being young. Talking and laughing, time flies quickly. The music in the bar was exciting and the atmosphere was hot, and everyone gradually started playing. At this time, Xu Jia and Bai Wei were playing a game of truth or dare. 3 people, decide with the palm of the hand and the back of the hand. The game has gone on for several rounds, wins and losses, and some funny but innocuous truths have been said. If you don't want to talk about it, choose a big adventure. The funniest time was when Yu Hao asked Bai Wei to flirt with a girl. In the end, no one expected that Bai Wei would succeed. The beauty who was unfortunately selected was blushed by her, causing everyone to burst into laughter. And this time, it was Yu Hao's turn. Xu Jia and Bai Wei laughed happily. Then Xu Jia came up with a bad idea. This question made Yu Hao's face turn as red as a pig's liver. Wang Tang shook his head with a smile. He did not participate. After all, he has too many secrets, and it is easy to get rid of it when playing this kind of game. Xu Jia and Bai Wei both coaxed and urged Yu Hao to speak quickly. Wang Tang stood up and went to the toilet. Eating star beast meat at night will help metabolism and expel impurities from the body. Wang Tang walked towards Xu Jia and the others. As soon as they got closer, they found that they were surrounded by several people. Xu Jia and Yu Hao seemed to be arguing with the group of people. The group of people were sloppy, wearing earrings and tattoos on their bodies, with a look of, I'm not easy to mess with. Wang Tang couldn't help frowning. At this time, one of them pushed Xu Jia, and said cursingly, this little girl stained my clothes, you just say sorry and think about it. Do you know how much the clothes cost? Can you afford it? A few brats, follow the example of adults and come to the bar to play. As he spoke, the people beside him burst out laughing, with mocking expressions on their faces. How did Yu Hao and the others suffer from this kind of anger? They, the rich second generation, were spoiled, and they were flattered and flattered wherever they went. If someone with a higher status than them, it's fine to suffer a little grievance, but these few are obviously little guys who came out of nowhere. If he was really bullied by such a person, it would probably become a joke in other rich second-generation circles if the news spread. Xu Jia was pushed a bit, and his face became even more gloomy. But don't look at his usual carefree, God first and me second appearance, in fact he is not a brainless person. At this time, there were obviously many people on the other side, and there were girls among them. If there is a conflict, they must be the ones who suffer. Besides, this is the era of martial arts, some people look ugly, what if they are masters? Then you must die. So he secretly took a deep breath, and tried to calmly say, guys, even if it's our fault that stained your clothes, at worst we'll just lose money. You are so aggressive, are you really going to make trouble out of control? Everyone here can see clearly that even if we ask the police to mediate, we are still on the right side. You still want to find the police and threaten me, right? The person whose clothes were stained was a young man in his 20s with a hooked nose and a sinister appearance. He was completely a hog meat. He felt that Xu Jia was threatening him, so he immediately cursed. Xu Jia, what are you talking nonsense with him? This fool is obviously looking for trouble. It's not that Bai Wei bumped into him, but he deliberately walked over when Bai Wei got up, so that Bai Wei bumped into him. Yu Hao said angrily. Boy, don't talk nonsense about things without evidence. The shady young man sneered. Whether this is the case, you know in your heart. Yu Hao stood up and pointed at him. The shady young man looked impatient, and snorted coldly. Stop talking nonsense, let this chick accompany us to drink a few glasses of wine, let's forget about it, otherwise, hee. What did you say? Say it again, believe it or not, I'll kill you. Yu Hao immediately exploded. These people actually wanted Bai Wei to drink with them, so and knew what was on his mind without even thinking about it. This really pissed him off. Xu Jia suddenly said, Oops, to himself. The other party was obviously trying to set them up, and with Yu Hao's explosion, the matter became irreconcilable. Yu Hao, stop talking. Bai Wei kept pulling Yu Hao just now, but he broke free without paying attention. At this moment, she clearly felt the tension in the atmosphere. Little fool, you still want to kill me. I will kill you first today. The shady young man grinned ferociously, stepped forward, and grabbed Yu Hao's neck with his hands like eagle claws. It is really ruthless, and it is a ruthless move as soon as it is shot. Warrior, someone exclaimed. Yu Hao's complexion also changed suddenly. One is that he did not expect the other party to do it when he said so, and the other is that he did not expect the other party to be a martial artist. In a hurry, he didn't have the courage to resist head-on, so he could only dodge to the side. Fortunately, Yu Hao was caught by his father to practice martial arts recently, and now he is a low-level martial artist. Otherwise, if he were an ordinary person, let alone hiding this time, I am afraid that he will be frightened by the opponent's ferocious aura on the spot and stay in place. There was immediate chaos in the bar. Shu Jia hurriedly pulled Bai Wei away. They were not martial arts practitioners, so they couldn't help at all at this time. Seeing that Yu Hao was able to dodge, the shady young man was slightly surprised, but he didn't take it seriously, twisted his body, and swept towards Yu Hao with a sweeping leg. Yu Hao hurriedly grabbed the chair next to him to block the opponent's attack. Boom! The iron chair was directly bent by the kick of the shady young man. Yu Hao also flew out horizontally under the powerful force, and fell heavily on the ground. Tables and chairs were smashed to pieces. The wine bottle shattered to the ground, and the whole bar jumped up and down in an instant. Men and women screamed and hid in the distance. But many people did not leave, but watched the excitement from a distance. Ahem! Yu Hao coughed dryly while clutching his chest, feeling as if his ribs were broken. He knew that this time he had encountered a hard stubble. He was a warrior for the first time, and judging from the opponent's strength, although he was also in the category of low-level warriors, he was almost close to the middle level. The shady young man put his legs away and walked towards Yu Hao slowly. Boy, weren't you very arrogant just now? You are not strong enough to kill me. The shady young man cornered Yu Hao step by step, looked down at him from a high position, and mocked. You dare to touch me, my dad will not let you go. Yu Hao gritted his teeth and said with a pale face. Little friend, if you can't win, you can find your father. You haven't been weaned yet. The shady young man sneered. Yu Hao's entire face was flushed with embarrassment. Naturally, Shu Jia couldn't watch his friend being humiliated, so he stood up and said, Today, we're killed. You can tell us the number and we will compensate you. The shady young man wagged his index finger and made a tisk-tisk sound. His face was full of disdain. Little boy, today I'll teach you to be a good boy, don't mess around if you don't have the skills. The shady young man raised his right foot and kicked Yu Hao's head hard. Some people couldn't bear to close their eyes. The expressions of Shu Jia and Bai Wei suddenly changed drastically. With this kick, Yu Hao will definitely be seriously injured. And it was still kicked in the head. If something good or bad happens, this life will be over. They really didn't expect that this vicious young man would be so ruthless. Boom! There was a heavy impact sound. But Yu Hao was still on the spot, unscathed, but the shady young man flew out and hit the wall heavily. PFF'd. He fell to the ground, spurting out a mouthful of blood. Whether it was Shu Jia, Bai Wei, or other people in the bar, they were all stunned by this sudden scene. Everyone stared blankly at Wang Tang standing in front of Yu Hao. He put one hand in his pocket, spit out the smoke in his mouth, and said lightly, My friend, when is it your turn to teach me a lesson? As soon as he finished speaking, his heart suddenly jumped. When the shady young man fell to the ground, several attribute bubbles also fell down. Can this also explode attributes? Wang Tang held back his doubts, but because there were too many people, he didn't go forward. Yu Hao came to his senses at this moment. His face was full of shock, he stammered and didn't know what to say. Shu Jia and Bai Wei also stared blankly at Wang Tang, as if they were meeting him for the first time. Don't get up yet, is it cool on the ground? Wang Tang scolded with a smile. Brother, you will be my big brother from now on, you have made it difficult for us to hide it from us. Shu Jia shouted excitedly. Bai Wei trotted over and looked at Wang Tang with a gleam in his eyes. Okay, What's the name of the ghost? When did I hide it from you? It's because you didn't ask me. Wang Tang said helplessly. You dare to hit me, kill this little fool. The vicious young man got up from the ground, wiped off the blood from the corner of his mouth, and yelled at the few people with him with hatred in his eyes. Brother, big brother, this kid is too powerful, we are no match. One person looked at Wang Tang in fear and said. Before they saw how Wang Tang moved his hand, the shady young man who was close to the strength of an intermediate martial artist flew out backwards. What use are they who are not warriors? Trash. The shady young man kicked the opponent resentfully, and said to Wang Tang, Boy, if you have a kind of name, wait for me to call someone. At this moment, Wang Tang stepped forward suddenly, scaring the shady young man back a few steps. Wang Tang touched those bubbles casually and picked them up. Strength 15. Speed 12. So much. Wang Tang was a little surprised, this was the most dropped by the same person at one time. Kill monsters and explode attributes. Is this the correct way to open the golden finger? He just thought about it and put it down. The timing was obviously wrong, and now was not the time to think about it. The corner of Wang Tang's mouth curled up and said, What are you afraid of? My name is Li Rongcheng. I'll give you half an hour to call someone. I won't wait when it's too late. Okay, just wait for me. The shady young man left the Rose Bar in a disheartened manner. As soon as they left, Bai Wei couldn't help laughing. Brother Wang Tang, you are so bad, you let Li Rongcheng take the blame. If he knows, he will hate you to death. An imperceptible coldness flashed in Wang Tang's eyes. Li Rongcheng and him were not just a little feud. In the previous life, the two had no enmity, but after the Wang family's downfall, the other party didn't want to let him go. Let's go home. Wang Tang lost interest and turned to go to the bar. Aren't we waiting for them to come back? Yu Hao asked unwillingly. Wang Tang slapped him on the head. You are stupid for practicing martial arts, who knows how many people they will find, what if there are high-level martial artists? Even martial artists, we still stay here foolishly, don't we? Waiting to die. That's right, you kid, you're too impulsive. If it wasn't for brother Wang Tang this time, you would have suffered a lot. Shu Jia couldn't help but lectured. Let's go, if they want to find Li Rongcheng, I'm not Li Rongcheng. Wang Tang and the others walked out of the bar, drove into the car, and disappeared into the night in a blink of an eye. The group of people probably had to depend on their luck to find him. As for finding him, is it good luck or bad luck? That's hard to say. As soon as Wang Tang and the others left, the staff looked at the messy bar and asked a man in his early 30s in a suit. Manager, just let them go. The man in the suit glared at the staff member, and said angrily, otherwise, what should we do? You go and keep them. Have no eyesight. That Zhao Gangbao is a low-level warrior, and his brother is even a high-level warrior. As for those rich second generations, which one of them is not worth hundreds of millions of dollars? The most important thing is that there are two warriors among them. Let alone the one who was overthrown, the one who just shot is at least an intermediate warrior. Such a young intermediate martial artist, do you know what it means? It means that he will be a high-level martial artist at the lowest level in the future. You deserve it. Don't drag me if you want to die. The staff member was speechless at the words, and he immediately cast himself in admiration. It turned out that the manager had already checked out the details of the other party. No wonder he was able to be a manager, but he was just a little transparent handyman. When something happens, the gap will come out. Then what should we do now? The staff immediately asked humbly for advice. Wait, didn't that Zhao Gangbao go to call someone? With his character of vengeance, he will definitely come back in a while, maybe he will destroy something. After they leave, we will count the losses together. This fool, who is not good to offend, but those rich second generations, do you believe that he will definitely not be able to please this time? Even if his brother comes in person, it may not be useful. The man in the suit cursed. After thinking about it, he said again, I will record all the losses on him. In addition, the monitoring in the bar must be kept well. This is all evidence. Don't lose it. I will make a copy later and send it to the boss on WeChat. This matter involves several warriors. We ordinary people can't intervene, so we can only let the boss decide. After Wang Tang and the others left, they were not in the mood to go to other places to play, so they went home. Back home, after 10 o'clock, Wang Tang did not go to the Jixing Martial Art Museum anymore, but surfed the internet at home, looked through the information, and deepened his understanding of the martial arts era. Tonight's incident can be regarded as a wake-up call for him. If you meet someone who looks like a gangster, your strength is almost close to that of an intermediate martial artist. If he hadn't been trying his best to pick up attributes and level up these 2 days, he would definitely not be able to close the game tonight, and it would cause a catastrophe. Although people who practice martial arts do not account for a high proportion of billions of people. But the problem is, if you leave them in the sea of people, you never know when you will be unlucky. In the future, what if an official warrior is provoked? Couldn't they just move their fingers and hurt themselves and the Wang family? He didn't want to experience the lessons learned in his previous life again. As soon as Wang Tang came back from rebirth, he already had a sense of crisis in his heart, and now this sense of crisis is even stronger. You must become an official warrior as soon as possible. A warrior, even a high-level warrior, is not enough. Only by becoming a martial artist can one have a little bit of self-protection power. After 11 o'clock, Wang Tang took a shower and was about to go to bed. He picked up his mobile phone and prepared to set an alarm clock for getting up early tomorrow. Turning on the phone, it shows that 2 messages have been received on WeChat. Although this world is only in 2009, there is already WeChat, and it has been popularized for a long time. If you have anything to do, post it in a circle of friends. Especially the circle of friends of warriors is the most sought after and popular, because they can enter the other world through the cracks in time and space. So I took a lot of wonders and scenes in different worlds, and even beauties from other worlds full of exotic flavors. Nowadays, drying clothes, drying bags, luxury cars and so on are all very low. Exposure to the world is the high-end atmosphere. Wang Tang looked at the 2 WeChat messages. One was sent more than an hour ago. Brother Wang Tang, I'm home. From Bai Wei, followed by a cute emoticon package. The other one was 3 minutes ago. Brother Wang Tang, I'm going to bed, good night. From Bai Wei. Followed by a sleeping emoji. Since when has this girl been so polite? She's fine with saying it when she gets home, and she's learned to say good night to me even when she's sleeping. Wang Tang looked strange. He thought about it. He posted it 3 minutes ago. He should be asleep now, right? Well, it's 4 minutes. It's better not to go back, so as not to wake her up again. Wang Tang swiped a few moments and saw nothing interesting, so he put down his phone and closed his eyes to sleep. In less than a minute, his breathing gradually stabilized and he fell asleep. On the other end of the phone, in the Pink Princess room, Bai Wei waited for a long time, but there was no response, and she couldn't help showing disappointment on her pretty face. Crack, she threw the phone away and rolled around on the bed frantically, very depressed. The next day, Sunday, Wang Tang got up early again, had breakfast, and left home with his old father Wang Shengguo's expression of relief on his face. Finally, I don't feel that gaze anymore. After the sports car drove a long way, Wang Tang shuddered. Could this be the legendary gaze of love? Hiss, so terrifying. Not long after, Wang Tang arrived at Jixing Martial Arts. There were some attribute bubbles scattered on the lawn and roads in the martial arts hall. He picked them up along the way, and then walked into the martial arts training building. There are several trainees training in the hall on the first floor. Wang Tang took a general look, and found that they were basically the first group of people who came yesterday. Wang Tang still had a deep impression on them. He thought he was early enough, but it turned out that others were earlier than him, so they were really hardworking. But on the road of diligence, I, Wang Tang, will not admit defeat. Wang Tang walked over, greeted politely, and picked up all the attributes dropped by several people. Basic Swordsmanship 1. Basic Movement 1. Strength 3. Basic Boxing *2. Speed 5. This is a good start. It's so cool. After picking up the attributes, Wang Tang walked straight to the second floor without stopping. His actions caught the attention of several students. The young man practicing sword couldn't help reminding, the martial arts school stipulates that low-level martial artists are not allowed to go to the second floor. I know, thank you for the reminder. Wang Tang turned his head and smiled. However, last night, I accidentally broke through the intermediate martial arts. After speaking, I have already gone up the second flight of stairs, and there is no one in sight. After pretending calmly, he waved his sleeves without taking away a cloud. The sword-practicing young man stayed where he was. What did he say? He asked several other students in disbelief. This kid, did you just come here yesterday? Instead of answering him directly, those people asked another question. No, he came on Friday night, I have seen him. Another student said suddenly. After 2 days of training, you became an intermediate martial artist. Are you kidding me? Absolutely impossible. He must have practiced martial arts before he came to the martial arts hall. Judging by his appearance, he is obviously a rich second generation, poor in culture and rich in martial arts, and his family has money. It is always much earlier and easier to practice martial arts than us. Quote. This statement has been unanimously recognized by everyone. No one believed that there would be someone in this world who would change from a powerless warrior to a low-level warrior, and then to an intermediate warrior in less than 2 days. It is simply a fantasy. That is not something that can be described as a genius at all, it can only be called a monster. Of course, cheating is excluded. Chapter 11. There are also many students training on the second floor of the training building. Wang Tang glanced around, his eyes suddenly brightened, and he saw a familiar figure. A flexible fat man, currently running wildly on the track. The other party has actually been promoted to an intermediate martial artist. No wonder I didn't see him on the first floor all day yesterday. It turned out that he was on the second floor. Fat man, morning. Wang Tang greeted him as if he were an old acquaintance. When the fat man heard the sound, he turned his head and looked over, his expression suddenly changed. Why is it this guy? He pretended not to see Wang Tang, didn't reply a word, and ran faster. Wang Tang watched the other person running, completely unaware that attribute bubbles were falling behind his butt, and he felt very happy. He used basic movement skills and ran behind the fat man while picking up attributes. Speed 6, Speed 7, Basic Body Skills 3, Speed 6. After being promoted to an intermediate warrior, this fat man will drop more attribute points. In other words, the higher the strength, the more attribute points he will drop. Wang Tang thought to himself. If this is the case, then there must be more properties picked up on the second floor than on the first floor. After all, these are all intermediate martial arts disciples. In this way, I believe that it won't be long before he can be promoted to a high-level warrior, and he will be one step closer to becoming a formal warrior. Why are you like a dog skin plaster, always clinging to me? Is it over yet? The angry voice of the fat man in front pulled Wang Tang out of his thoughts. Hey, what's the point of training alone? Why don't we compete and run 10 laps to see who takes less time? How about coming? Wang Tang said. The fat man was about to refuse, but rolled his eyes and said, if you lose, stay away from me and let me train alone. Can. Wang Tang agreed and said, what if you lose? What a joke, how could I lose? The fat man said disdainfully. Confidence is a good thing, but since you have put forward conditions, I naturally have requirements. The competition is about fairness, right? Wang Tang said. Then what do you want? The fat man asked with a frown. It's very simple. If you lose, how about singing, conquer, in front of everyone? Wang Tang said. Okay, as long as you can win, you can sing anything. Forget about just one song called Conquest, it's okay to sing 10 songs. Fatty agreed, patting his chest. Wang Tang secretly laughed in his heart, 10 poems. Wait until you cry later. There's a timer next to it. I'll find someone to help us time it. The fat man said, walked to the side, said a few words to a student who was training, and asked the other person to help him time. The student nodded and followed the fat man to the edge of the track. Get ready. If I call start, you can run. The student said, standing next to the timer. The two nodded. The fat man began to prepare. He shook his legs and relaxed his muscles. As a result, the fat meat trembled wildly. Seeing the two competing, the other students gathered around and watched the excitement beside the track. They couldn't help laughing when they saw the fat man's jiggling fat. This fat man, who is so fat, actually wants to learn body skills and practice speed. I don't know what he thinks. But don't tell me, this fat guy is quite capable, he can run faster than a rabbit. Listening to the discussion coming from the side, the fat man couldn't help but have a look of pride on his face. He glanced at Wang Tang provocatively and stood straight on the spot, not even making a starting move. Wang Tang smiled, but stood still and asked casually, "Fat man, what's your name?" "My name is Wu Liang," the fat man said, pointing to his nose. "Be sure to remember this name, so that you don't know who you lost to when you lose later." After saying that, he asked, "What about you?" "Wang Tang, remember to sing, conquer, if you lose." Wang Tang laughed. Bang! Wu Liang rolled his eyes disdainfully. A loud shout suddenly came from the side. "Get ready. Run." Although Wang Tang and Fatty were talking, they jumped out at the same time when the sound rang out. The face of the person next to him changed slightly. Both of them were very fast, rushing dozens of meters away in an instant. They kept running at a high speed and did not conserve their energy for the final sprint just because they had run 10 laps. Because this is a timed run, the competition is time. What's more, people who practice martial arts have a lot of physical strength, and running 10 laps is just a trivial matter. Although Wu Liang is fat, he doesn't run slowly at all. On the contrary, his speed is even faster than everyone present. There are only a few people who can truly develop their body skills and speed to his level. That's why the onlookers' expressions suddenly changed just now. He is indeed as fat as the wind. Many people sighed. And when they looked at Wang Tang, the expressions on their faces were also extremely surprised. They already knew about Fatty, and even if he was surprised, they could quickly accept him. However, Wang Tang was an unfamiliar face, and he had probably just become an intermediate martial artist. However, this newly promoted intermediate martial artist can actually run as fast as Wu Liang, which is quite remarkable. Wait, Wu Liang seems to have just become an intermediate martial artist. He just went to the second floor yesterday. So, these two are both pink newcomers. Are all newcomers so fierce these days? Are we going to give these old people a way to survive? The waves behind the Yangtze River push the waves ahead, and the waves in front die on the beach. A sad atmosphere suddenly filled the air among several intermediate warriors. This newcomer is still a little worse than Wu Liang. Someone commented. It's hard to say. Although he has been lagging behind, he has been hanging on behind the fat man. You haven't noticed that the distance behind him has never been more than 20 meters. Hey, you really didn't notice it if you didn't tell me. Those people looked at Wang Tang behind in surprise. A closer look showed that he didn't look tired at all. Wang Tang did not try his best and fell behind Wu Liang, mainly to pick up attributes. And this competition itself is to let Wu Liang lose more attributes. He has almost figured out some of the uses of Goldfinger. If you want these little monsters to drop more attributes, you need to make them train harder or hit them directly. The harder you hit them, the more they may explode. This latter point was inspired by the young man of Prey last night, but it has yet to be verified. After all, you can't just find someone to beat up. In order to get rid of Wang Tang, Wu Liang ran extra hard this time and lost a lot of attributes, almost all the way. Basic Body Skills *2. Speed 5. Speed 6. Basic Body Skills 4. Speed 7. Wang Tang felt like he was playing Temple Run. Each attribute bubble was like a gold coin. There seemed to be a tinkling sound in my ears. As he ran, he picked up attributes, and his own attributes continued to increase. Not only did he not feel tired, but he became more energetic. This is also the reason why he dares to compete with Fatty. We cheated. If we lose, we can't afford to lose this person. When the onlookers saw a smile on Wang Tang's lips, their expressions suddenly became strange. This guy is totally walking a dog. No, walking a fat man. All that's missing is a chain. Wu Liang didn't notice the abnormality at all. Seeing that Wang Tang had been lagging behind him, he turned around and laughed. Small, I told you that you are no longer my opponent, and you have to seek abuse. Phew. As soon as he finished speaking, a figure flashed past him. The smile on the fat man's face suddenly stiffened. His eyes widened, his mouth opened wide, and it took him a long time to utter a single word. Depend on. Wu Liang looked depressed. Aren't you too dark? It turns out that you have been retaining your strength before, and it exploded at the end, which made me happy for nothing. Wang Tang laughed and said, who was so confident in the beginning. Besides, I also want to save face for you, so I let you lead for so long, and finally caught up. Hey, I believe you're evil, you are a bad old man. Wu Liang sneered. How did I become a bad old man? Okay, dare to lose but dare not admit it, just say it, and I don't want you to honor your bet. Wang Tang said speechlessly. Who doesn't dare to admit it? Isn't it just singing, conquer? Why don't you dare? Wu Liang said with his neck stuck. Then you're singing. All the flowers I've been waiting for are gone. Wang Tang squinted at him. Wu Liang suddenly seemed to have eaten a fly, and his fat face was constantly changing. On the one hand, I can't put down my face and sing, but on the other hand, I don't want people to say that I am a person who can't afford to lose. The whole face merged into two words, tangled. However, he finally resigned to his fate, and he sang in a faint voice as if he was discouraged. Just like this, I was conquered by you. Can't hear clearly. Wang Tang put his hands on his ears, pretending that he couldn't hear. Wu Liang was so angry that he was half dead, took a deep breath, and howled. Conquered by you like this. Ha ha ha. The people around couldn't help laughing. This fat man is tone deaf. But what a pity. Singing conquest in front of so many people is simply a stain on life. This Wang Tang is also black-bellied, and he is so tricky. Wang Tang suppressed a smile, waved his hands and said, Okay, stop singing, your voice will scare the children to cry. Quote. Wu Liang. Don't, I still have to sing 10 songs. Quote. Now it was Wang Tang's turn to be speechless. This fat man is a bit cheap. I was conquered by you just like that. Seeing Wang Tang's depressed face, Wu Liang became even more excited. Roll. Wang Tang ran away quickly. This voice is too poisonous. Although this fat man is a bit funny, but he is really a bit cheap. It's too late to say it again, and I'll play it slowly after it's fun. Seeing that he is about the same age as himself, he is already an intermediate martial artist, which means that his talent should be pretty good. Maybe he can become a warrior in the future. Such a fat sheep with potential can be used as a long-term fleece target. The onlookers were also scared away. They talked for a while in the distance. While they were amazed by this, they also aroused their desire to win, and they all put in harder training. Many attribute bubbles have dropped in the training ground on the second floor. Wang Tang walked over, picked them up one by one, and greeted them. Speed 6, Strength 7, Basic Boxing 3, Strength 5, Basic Knife Skills 6. Another round of soaring attributes, stopped in front of a student who was practicing boxing, and stopped to observe for a while. Wait until the opponent has finished practicing, stop and rest. Wang Tang stepped forward and said, Senior brother, how about we help each other? The other party looked older than Wang Tang, probably in his early 20s. Hearing Wang Tang's words, he was taken aback for a moment, and said, Your name is Wang Tang, right? My name is Zhang Xiaoyang. I just watched the competition between you and Wu Liang, and I'm also a little interested in you. Since you brought it up, let's discuss it. Senior brother Zhang, please. The two stood still in the empty space and distanced themselves. Wang Tang made a gesture of invitation. Then I won't be polite. Zhang Xiaoyang clenched his fists, stepped on his feet, and rushed towards Wang Tang first. Bang bang bang. The two sides fought together immediately, and Wang Tang didn't use any other combat skills, but relied entirely on his body and boxing skills to deal with Zhang Xiaoyang. The two exchanged fists and fists, very violent and wild. Even if he was hit, he would be hit directly on the body with punches to the flesh. Zhang Xiaoyang was a little surprised. He was a muscular man, and he looked like a man of tough steel. And Wang Tang was wearing loose sportswear, with no muscles on his body. From the outside, he looked like an ordinary teenager. But I didn't expect that it would be so explosive when I really moved my hands. It's not even against the piece at all. In addition, Wang Tang's strength also surprised him. Before, he thought that Wang Tang was just good at movement and fast, but now it seems that he has to retract this speculation. Wang Tang's boxing skills are not weaker than his own. This guy looks like a genius. Zhang Xiaoyang thought to himself. The two are regarded as good talents, and they are evenly matched. They fight back and forth for a while, and no one will lose to the other. Zhang Xiaoyang's basic boxing skills have already reached a great level. After fighting for so long, Wang Tang has not fallen behind. The students in the distance were not optimistic about Wang Tang at first, but when they saw him challenge Zhang Xiaoyang, they didn't pay much attention, thinking it was just a matter of 2 or 3 punches. However, the facts were unexpected. The two had been fighting for a long time, but there was still no winner. Could it be that Zhang Xiaoyang didn't do his best? Someone asked suspiciously. Are you stupid? Judging by Zhang Xiaoyang's appearance, doesn't it seem like he didn't exert all his strength? The person next to him said speechlessly. No more fights, no more fights. Taking advantage of the fact that both sides were backing up after the confrontation, Zhang Xiaoyang quickly waved his hands. Why don't you fight anymore? Wang Tang was still thinking. You and I have the same boxing skills. If we continue to fight, we will not be able to tell the winner. Instead, we will consume too much energy, which will affect the whole day of training today. Zhang Xiaoyang said. And you didn't use the agility you used in the competition with Wu Liang, otherwise I would have been defeated long ago. That's fine, as long as you click. We will try again when we have a chance, Wang Tang said. Okay, I learned a lot from competing with you. Zhang Xiaoyang nodded. Wang Tang went to the side to rest, recover his strength, and count the gains from this exchange. Basic Boxing 23. Strength 45. Sure enough, everything is as he guessed. Killing monsters explodes attributes. The harder you hit, the more explosions, especially the basic boxing skills. Let them train by themselves, they won't drop so much. So this is indeed the correct way to open the golden finger. Wang Tang wandered around the training ground, slowly recovering his physical strength, and picked up all the attributes that had just dropped. Half an hour later, he had almost recovered. Then he took a sword from the weapon room, and came to a student who practiced swords. Senior brother, I don't know if you have time to teach me how to use swords. Okay. The other party was also straightforward, nodding and agreeing. At this time, there were more and more students in the training ground, but only those who came earlier knew about the 2 previous competitions. That Wang Tang went to fight with someone again, and this time it's actually a swordsmanship competition. The student who just arrived asked puzzledly, what's the matter? This student is a little unfamiliar, newcomer. A student immediately explained to him. Here, Wang Tang and Wang Tang have already moved their hands, their long swords clashed, and sparks were shot. Swordsmanship is naturally more dangerous than a test, but both of them have a sense of proportion, and they will not really hurt each other. At the end of the competition, Wang Tang gained a wave of attributes and rested beside him. Basic Swordsmanship 26. Strength 30. An hour later, Wang Tang approached a student who practiced swords, cupped his fists and said, Brother, I'm so hungry and thirsty for my big sword, let's try it out. Okay, my big knife can't stand it anymore. The two looked serious, sparks sprang out of their eyes as they looked at each other, crackling. The surrounding students are already numb. Wu Liang was also one of them. He looked at those who were approached by Wang Tang, and suddenly felt sympathetic. This Wang Tang is simply a combat maniac, capable of all kinds of combat skills, and even fights 50-50 with others. I'm afraid it's not a monster. One morning, apart from picking up the attributes dropped by other people's training, Wang Tang was looking for someone to compete. Body skills, boxing skills, sword skills, saber skills, whatever he knows, he has found someone to compete with. The title of Fighting Crazy Demon has been unknowingly spread among this group of intermediate students. Who knows who spread it? It's best not to let me know which fool it is. When Wang Tang heard someone calling him that, his entire face turned dark. Knock Nima, what hatred, what resentment, you blackmail me so much. Chew. Fatty Wu Liang was eating lunch in the cafeteria of Jixing Martial Arts Hall when he suddenly sneezed out. The rice in his mouth choked into his nose, and the rice grains stuck to his nose and flowed out. He rubbed his nose and said depressedly, I sneezed for no reason. Could it be that someone is scolding me behind my back? How wicked. Wang Tang looked at his attribute panel, and found that he gained a lot on the second floor. In one morning, his attributes were almost close to that of a high-level martial artist. Perception, 35. Physique, 66. Power, 621. Speed, 323. Battle skills, basic boxing, great accomplishment, basic movement, great accomplishment, basic swordsmanship, great accomplishment, basic sword art, minor accomplishment. The threshold for a high-level warrior is to have a physique of 70, a strength of 700 kilograms, and a speed of 100 meters in 5 seconds. As long as you work harder in the afternoon, a pink and tender high-level warrior will be freshly out of the oven. And several basic combat skills have also been upgraded to a higher level: boxing, swordsmanship, body skills from small to great, and sword skills from proficiency to small. The entire strength has undergone earth-shaking changes. Unfortunately, I didn't find any other attributes of combat skills today. It seems that most people choose these combat skills as their main training items. Coming out of the training building, Wang Teng walked to the martial arts cafeteria. He heard from several students of Zhang Xiaoyang that there is a cafeteria in Jixing martial arts. And as long as you have money, you can eat anything. Even star beast ingredients are available. These star beast ingredients were hunted and killed by martial artists in the martial arts hall, and then sold to the martial arts hall to be exchanged for points or cash. Therefore, the star beast ingredients in the wagwan are much richer than those outside. Many rare star beasts are not even sold outside. Moreover, the wagwan cafeteria specially invited a master chef to process the star beast ingredients. Spirit chef is a sub-profession derived from the warrior profession. Every master chef must have the original force, and if he wants to practice the original force, he must be a warrior. Do you dare to think of a warrior as a chef? However, the food made by the master chef is not ordinary food, it is spiritual food that is beneficial to the cultivation of warriors. Its cooking methods and various dishes come from the star martial continent. Even the profession of master spirit chef was originally passed down from star martial continent. The income of master chefs is also very high, and there is no danger. Many warriors are very fond of master chefs in order to eat spiritual food, so the status of master chefs is actually very high. Wang Teng and Zhang Xiaoyang were walking on the way to the canteen, and asked curiously, "So, the canteen of Jixing martial arts also provides spiritual food?" Zhang Xiaoyang explained, "Yes, our Jixing martial arts gym is one of the 3 giants of Huasha martial arts gym, so naturally we can afford a master chef. Nowadays, the dishes passed down from other worlds have been researched and tried by chefs on the earth, and even introduced new ones, and have gradually formed a whole system of spiritual food cuisines. However, the spiritual food cuisine in this other world is only on the 3rd floor of the cafeteria, where warriors usually go in and out, and ordinary students can't afford it." Quote. Wang Teng nodded, and was surprised again. "Oh, I can still see warriors. If you can see it, you can see it, but the number of people is generally not very large. Most warriors usually explore in the star martial continent, or perform some missions issued by the martial arts school. They don't really spend a lot of time in the martial arts school," Zhang Xiaoyang said. Wang Teng nodded, and asked again, "Are all spiritual foods expensive?" "It's not only expensive, the general dishes cost tens of thousands, and those with high difficulty and rare ingredients are even hundreds of thousands, even millions. It's really super expensive." "Okay," Zhang Xiaoyang shouted. "My dear, Michelin chefs are not so awesome, right?" Wang Teng was a little speechless. Besides, a meal costs hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. Are all warriors so rich? Naturally, he didn't go to the 3rd floor of the cafeteria, and only had a meal with Zhang Xiaoyang and the others on the 1st floor. A meal of hundreds of thousands is not so extravagant for Wang Teng. If you want to eat, you will eat it when you become a warrior and easily earn him 100 million yuan. At that time, you can also let your parents taste the so-called spiritual food. After eating, we rested for an hour. Then continued training in the afternoon. Wang Teng took a big sword that was so hungry and thirsty, he went around to compete with others, mainly looking for students who practiced basic sword skills. Among the several combat skills, only the sword technique is still a small success. To be a human being should be fair, and one should not treat one more favorably than another, so he decided to improve the basic sword technique to a great level first. In the afternoon, a few hours flew by, and Wang Teng's various attributes had already broken through the threshold of a high-level warrior. In other words, he finally became a high-level warrior. Among the martial arts disciples, they are considered to be the sharp group of people, and they are a relatively strong ant. And his basic sword technique has also been promoted to dacheng. It's just that body skills, boxing skills and sword skills accidentally became perfect again, leaving the basic saber skills behind again. What about fairness? Grievance JPG. Basic knife skills. It seems that the improvement is too fast. Wang Tang felt helpless. Life is really lonely like snow. Wang Tang decided to stay on the second floor for a few more days. Anyway, the promotion is still the same. Maybe there will be more properties on the third floor, but it's not bad these days. In the evening, Wang Tang returned home, had dinner with his parents, and then went out to Jixing Martial Arts Hall to pick up attributes. He didn't get home until 11 o'clock. After taking a shower, lying on the bed, I silently opened the property panel and looked at it. Perceptio, 43. Physique, 84. Power, 964. Speed, 533. Battle skills. Basic boxing consummation, basic movement consummation, basic swordsmanship consummation, basic saber technique dacheng. Very good. According to this attribute value, even among high-level warriors, it is at the upper middle level. As long as you don't meet official warriors, at least you have some self-protection power. He thought about it, lying on the bed, and fell asleep slowly after a while. The next day, Wang Tang got up early habitually. Today is Monday and he has to go to school. He almost forgot that he was still a high school student. He had just been reborn, still thinking like an adult, and it happened that he went to practice martial arts on the weekend, which was not something a high school student would do at all. In the morning, the family sits down and eats breakfast together. Wang Shengguo sipped his porridge and said, "Although you are practicing martial arts now, you can't miss the culture class. Now universities have martial arts majors. As long as you reach the advanced martial arts before the college entrance examination, you can apply for the exam. It is also a good choice if you can be admitted to a military academy. After you come out, it is at least a school-level military rank. Nowadays, the military rank is largely linked to the level of martial arts, but so far, only orthodox warriors who graduated from military schools can be awarded military ranks, and warriors who graduated from ordinary universities do not have this preferential treatment." Quote. Wang Tang nodded, his eyes thoughtful. The country is the best protection umbrella. If you can enter the military academy and get a military rank after graduation, it is a good way. Of course, even if you enter an ordinary school, warriors will have a lot of benefits, and even ordinary schools have their own academy factions. Each warrior faction's protection of its own warriors is unquestionable, and the degree of freedom is relatively high. In short, each has its own advantages. It seems that if possible, he still has to get into a good university. Even if he has a golden finger, he still needs time to grow up. Before becoming the strongest and ignoring all the rules, the best way is to find a strong backer for yourself. The problem is, no matter in his previous life or this life, he never went to school well, and his cultural achievements can be said to be a mess. Wang Shengguo chatted with Wang Tang while eating breakfast. Unlike before, Wang Tang couldn't listen to half a sentence. Instead, he listened carefully and was thinking about something. Grown up, Wang Shengguo was relieved again. Wang Tang's performance in the past 2 days was really different. I have always heard that so-and-so's children seem to have grown up suddenly, and the whole person has become mature. At that time he could only smile wryly. My son, who is ignorant and inexperienced, probably won't be able to mature before the age of 30. It's really frustrating to be my father. But now, he actually waited until this day. Woo, I'm so touched, my strictness has finally taken effect, this strict father is not in vain. Wang Shengguo finished his porridge, wiped his mouth, and said solemnly, "The college entrance examination is a turning point in your life, I hope you can think about it for yourself. Telling you this is not to let you take the exam this year. The college entrance examination is coming soon, you can't do well in cultural courses, and you have just started practicing martial arts. There is definitely no hope for this year, and you can only wait for next year or the year after. The Education Bureau stipulates that you can apply for the martial arts major before the age of 20, so you still have 2 chances to repeat the exam. As long as you become an advanced martial artist before the age of 20, you will have the opportunity to apply for the martial arts major. In terms of culture, I can also ask a tutor to give you a special surprise tutoring, and there is still a great chance of being admitted." Quote. After speaking, he looked at Wang Tang with a hint of expectation in his eyes. Look forward to Jackie Chan. Every father probably has such an expectation for his children, maybe this is also a kind of love. Under Wang Shengguo's gaze, Wang Tang finished eating the fritters in his hand unhurriedly, raised his head and smiled. "Dad, maybe you don't have to wait until next year." Seeing the smile on Wang Tang's face, Wang Shengguo knew that he had listened to what he said, but why did it sound so scolding? He couldn't help laughing and scolding. Having confidence is a good thing, but, can you stop pretending to be aggressive with your father and me, brat? He didn't believe at all that Wang Tang would be able to pass the exam this year. This kid is getting more and more naughty. Li Xiame took off the suit jacket from the hanger, handed it to Wang Shengguo, and yelled at Wang Tang. "By the way, I won't arrange a driver for you from today on. You can drive or take the bus as you please." Wang Shengguo took the suit jacket, said this, and went out. Wang Tang was speechless. His previous self was so worrying, he had to be picked up and dropped off from school, he was afraid that he would go fooling around somewhere. He shook his head and greeted Li Xiame. "Mom, I've finished eating too, let's go." "Okay, be careful on your own way." Wang Tang drove the car and arrived at Donghai No. 1 middle school in 20 minutes. He found a parking space and parked the car, then walked to his class. If I remember correctly, it should be class 3-8. High school teaching building. Most of the students here are in a hurry, and the atmosphere is more tense than that in the first and second grade teaching buildings. When we arrived at the class, many students were already studying hard. In order not to affect others, they moved their lips slightly and recited the text silently without making a sound. The arrival of Wang Tang seemed very abrupt in the quiet class, and several students raised their heads, with a hint of surprise in their eyes. But I didn't think too much about it. This rich second generation, maybe he just accidentally got up early. Tomorrow will probably resume the routine operation of being late every day. Such a thought flashed through the minds of several students at the same time, and immediately lowered their heads and went to do their own things. Wang Tang walked into the classroom, his eyes suddenly flashed. Attribute bubbles. Surrounding the students, there were a few air bubbles. Especially the female classmate who was silently reciting the text. A small bubble came out of her mouth, and gradually grew bigger as she silently recited the text. Then it fell to the ground with a snap. Especially like a goldfish spitting bubbles. Wang Tang was fascinated by the whole person. How could he lose bubbles while studying? He always thought that only martial arts had attribute values, but now it seems that this is not the case. He walked over, calmly, and picked up a few attribute bubbles. Chinese 10, English 15, Creature 12, Chemistry 15. The next moment, Wang Tang laughed. Just now he was worried that his cultural class was not good enough. No, the attribute of cultural class came. Goldfinger is really powerful enough. After picking up the attribute of culture class, Wang Tang had a lot of knowledge in his mind. This knowledge is like what he learned by himself, and it is directly integrated into memory and will not disappear. Wang Tang sat down next to the girl who spit bubbles. That's right, Wang Tang and the other party are at the same table. And this girl is Lin Chuhan, the monitor of their class. She has an ordinary family background, but she is a super academic, and she is expected to be the top university in China. A rich second-generation scumbag, and a commoner girl who is a schoolmaster. Originally, it was impossible for two people to sit together, but Comrade Fan Weiming, the head teacher, arranged it like this. As the name suggests, one good and one bad. So Lin Chuhan, the best student, brought Wang Tang, the worst student. Comrade Lao Fan's coquettish operation almost broke the waist of the whole class. He wasn't afraid to influence Lin Chuhan by misleading an otherwise excellent student who was expected to be the best university in the country. Of course, Lin Chuhan's appearance is also an important reason why everyone is filled with righteous indignation. What a beautiful little white flower, Lao Fan, who committed crimes, just planted her beside the cow dung. It's a pity that everyone dared not speak out. The rich second generation whose family has hundreds of millions of assets to inherit can't be offended. However, what is surprising is that although Wang Tang, the rich second generation, is ignorant, he didn't affect Lin Chuhan much. The two have been at the same table for more than a year, and Lin Chuhan's grades have always been ranked first, and he has never dropped. And because of Wang Tang, many boys did not dare to provoke Lin Chuhan, but instead created a quiet learning environment for her. How can we know that it is not a blessing if it is a blessing in disguise? Wang Tang looked at Lin Chuhan beside him, and a memory emerged in his mind. That was when the third year of high school just started. One night, Wang Shengguo suddenly said triumphantly to Wang Tang, "Son, I sent something to your head teacher and asked him to arrange the best student in your class to be your deskmate. You should learn from him. By the way, don't bully other girls. If I find out, your legs will be broken. Do you hear me?" Hearing the news, Wang Tang froze on the spot. Yu Qi was speechless when he saw Comrade Wang's smug expression. "You put the most beautiful girl in high school in front of me, but you won't let me touch her. Are you still my kisser?" How cruel. To complain, Wang Shengguo didn't dare not listen to what he said, so Wang Tang honestly became Lin Chuhan's good tablemate for a year. No matter in the previous life or in this life, Wang Shengguokeng's son looked exactly the same. In his previous life, Wang Tang also sat at the same table with Lin Chuhan for a year. The most beautiful girl in high school is in front of her, but she can't move. What a fool. After graduating from high school, Lin Chuhan went to Xiadu to study at First Capital University. Then I heard that he went abroad for further studies, returned to China after 3 years, showed extraordinary business talents, established a company in just a few years, spread out across the country, looked to the world, and was promoted to become a generation of business tycoons. Think about others, think about yourself. It's like a salted fish lying in front of a giant whale for a whole year. Wang Tang looked down at Lin Chuhan's slender legs, and felt an urge to hug them tightly. These beautiful legs are inlaid with gold. Having said that, this girl's figure is really nothing to say. Lin Chuhan was reciting the text when she suddenly felt a scorching gaze fall on her thigh, and her brows furrowed unknowingly. Snort. A cold snort woke Wang Tang up. Wang Tang looked at Lin Chuhan's slightly cold face, touched his nose, laughed, and looked away. Still laughing, this guy is too hateful. Lin Chuhan was secretly annoyed. Wang Tang shook his head, thinking to himself that he is a person who has lived a new life, and his concentration is still not enough, which is a bit embarrassing. He took out his mobile phone and planned to check the college entrance examination information online. What Wang Shengguo said in the morning gave him a new understanding of the college entrance examination. Wang Tang originally thought that after becoming a martial artist, his status would be different, so he would no longer need to take the college entrance examination. I didn't expect there to be so many twists and turns. Fortunately, Wang Shengguo reminded him in time, otherwise he might really miss this year's college entrance examination. Do a random search, and a bunch of information about the college entrance examination pops up. It has to be said that there are many differences between this world and the Earth in the previous life. If you don't understand it carefully, you can't know it at all. For example, the Earth in this world is not actually called the Earth, but the Earth star. For another example, their country is called Huasha, Kyoto is called Xiadu, the First Capital University is Xiadu University, and so on. Donghai is similar to the magic capital of the previous life, and Donghai University is a key university comparable to Xiadu University. The time for the college entrance examination has also changed, from June to July 5th. Because this day is the time when martial arts will start to be promoted. Today's college entrance examination focuses on martial arts exams, so the college entrance examination time is set on this special day. Wang Tang checked the relevant content of applying for the martial arts major. It turned out that the martial arts test is very different from the general test. The culture courses to be tested in the martial arts exam are not only Chinese, mathematics, English, physics, chemistry, etc., but also include human body, history of martial arts development, elixir, mineralogy and other miscellaneous knowledge. The Bureau of Education also integrated this knowledge into a 5-year Wukao 3-year simulation. Students who want to apply for martial arts majors claim to have a copy. Wang Tang looked at the name with a strange expression on his face, wondering if he should also buy a book. After thinking about it, I decided to give up. Learning is impossible to learn, only by picking attributes. There are 5 high-level martial arts apprentices in Donghai number. 1 middle school. They will definitely take the path of martial arts exams. Most likely they have already carefully studied the 5-year martial arts examination and 3-year simulation. Find an opportunity to go to them to pick up attributes, and brush up the proficiency of the 5-year martial arts examination and 3-year simulation. If this is not enough, other schools also have students who want to major in martial arts, and it will definitely be enough to go to them to collect a wave of attributes. Wang Tang had a good plan. This guy, coming so early, is actually playing with his mobile phone. Lin Chuhan watched Wang Tang fiddle with his mobile phone for a long time, frowned again, and said in a low voice, "Wang Tang, come out with me." After finishing speaking, she got up directly and walked out of the classroom. Wang Tang was thinking about the martial arts test, and he was at a loss when he heard Lin Chuhan's words. But seeing the back of the other party walking out of the classroom, he got up and followed out. "Forget it, whoever told you to be pretty, I'll give you face." Wang Tang put away his mobile phone, put his hands in his pockets, and walked out of the classroom unsteadily, and saw Lin Chuhan who was waiting at the corner. "What's the matter, squad leader Lin?" Wang Tang asked, looking at Ruyu's pretty face in front of him. "Wang Tang, the college entrance examination is less than a month away, why are you still playing all day? Don't you plan to take the college entrance examination?" Lin Chuhan said with a cold face. "You also know that it's only less than a month away, so what's the use of working hard now?" Wang Tang said amusedly. Wang Tang's frivolous tone made Lin Chuhan very disgusted. She frowned and said patiently, "I have notes there, although it's only less than a month old, but if you study hard, you may not be able to get a little score in the college entrance examination, plus your family's background, it shouldn't be a problem to go to a good university. What's the matter?" "Squad leader Lin, do you care about me so much?" Wang Tang said suddenly. "Don't you want to be sentimental?" Lin Chuhan said expressionlessly. "I care about you, big-headed ghost, there are such brazen people in the world. Otherwise, why are you so worried about my college entrance examination?" Wang Tang asked. "The teacher in charge put me next to you because he wanted me to help you more in your studies. It was fine if you didn't listen before, but now that the college entrance examination is coming soon, I will remind you so solemnly for the last time." Lin Chuhan explained. "An explanation is a cover-up," Wang Tang teased. Lin Chuhan was speechless by his shamelessness, and said in a hurry, "I will persuade you because I am at the same table. Anyway, it is up to you whether you listen or not. If you fail the exam, I will follow you. It doesn't matter half a dime." After finishing speaking, she turned around and was about to go back to class. As a result, he walked too hastily, did not see the broom that fell on the ground, stumbled, and lost his center of gravity. Oops, no focus. Lin Chuhan was shocked, but the next moment, he felt his body being hugged. Wang Tang also noticed the strangeness in his hands, and was slightly stunned. You still don't let go." Lin Chuhan wanted to cry but said without tears. "Do you really want me to let go?" Wang Tang said. "Let go," Lin Chuhan said firmly. "Oh." Then he let go. "Let go." "Oh." Lin Chuhan threw herself face down on the ground. "Squad leader, you told me to let go," Wang Tang said honestly. Lin Chuhan raised one hand from the ground and pointed at Wang Tang, trembling. Are you okay?" Wang Tang squatted down and asked carefully beside her. Lin Chuhan raised his head, his hair was messy, his delicate nose, and even his forehead were flushed. "There is nothing to love in life. Wang Tang, you fool." She got up from the ground and ran away without looking back. "People are lost." Wang Tang looked at the back of Lin Chuhan running away, his face was a little embarrassed. "Did I do something wrong?" Wang Tang walked into the class. Some memories of Lin Chuhan in her previous life could not help but emerge in her mind. She remembered that at that time, she often discouraged herself, thinking that she would wake up and study hard every day. It's a pity that he didn't look back at the end of his previous life, and went all the way to the dark. Later, the two separated and never saw each other again, which is embarrassing. This girl once left traces in his memory, and he doesn't want to miss it in this life. At this moment, almost all the students in the class came, and many attribute bubbles fell on the ground. Under the doubtful eyes of the students, Wang Tang walked around the class and picked up all the attribute bubbles. English 9. Chinese 12. Creature 15. Young Master Wang, what are you doing? Who knows, probably on a walk. Walk, you don't care, he is a rich second generation, and his thoughts are not on the same channel as ours. That's really mind-boggling. The classmate with good deeds had a strange expression on his face, and couldn't help discussing in a low voice. When Wang Tang turned his head to look over, the voices disappeared again, and they all sat upright, studying hard. Wang Tang pouted and sat down in his seat. Lin Chuhan was not in her position, and she didn't know where she had gone. It wasn't until the morning bell rang that she came in from outside the class with a cold face and didn't even look at Wang Tang. Sitting in the position, it seems that there is a mass of air next to it. Wang Tang smiled wryly, not daring to provoke her again. Lin Chuhan originally had a cold temperament, but now his face was cold, and there was a cold aura of, "Don't get close to strangers," all over his body. This chick is really cold. In the morning reading class, Wang Tang flipped through the textbook boredly. Throughout the morning, the students were intensively reviewing, and Wang Tang also had a fulfilling life, listening to lectures and picking up attributes. His cultural knowledge has grown rapidly, and now that he is given a test paper, it is estimated that he can pass the test in his early 60s. This is scary. You must know that his previous scores were all calculated in single digits, so he was lucky if he guessed the multiple choice questions correctly. Although Lin Chuhan ignored Wang Tang, she was at the same table after all, so it was impossible for her not to see what Wang Tang was doing. I can't help but feel a little surprised. This guy has changed his temper and is actually reading a book. Did my words really work? This fool, doesn't he like me? Although Lin Chuhan has never been in a relationship, her girlfriends will definitely discuss the topic of boys, and she has also secretly read some romance novels. Not all the novels say that if a boy likes a certain girl, he will take the other person's words to heart and make changes for her, wanting to present a better version of himself to the other person. And thinking of what happened just now, I couldn't help but feel a little strange. This guy is so annoying. He actually let go just like that. He would die if he held it up. He was a straight man of steel. Thinking about it, Lin Chuhan suddenly woke up, his head shaking like a rattle, and his ears turned red unconsciously. I'm thinking about something messed up. Lin Chuhan's mind was completely at war between heaven and man, all kinds of girls' thoughts were chaotic, and his whole face was as hot as a steamer. At this time, even if her mind is firmer than other peers, she is still a girl at heart after all, and she will have this kind of pink thoughts. After a while, Lin Chuhan sighed dejectedly. It's all this guy's fault for disturbing my cleanliness. When Wang Tang saw her shaking his head desperately and sighing inexplicably, his head was filled with question marks. What kind of madness is this? He couldn't help but said, "Squad leader Lin, class is over, go have lunch and take a rest, how about I invite you? I'll just apologize to you for what happened in the morning." Lin Chuhan was startled, and his face was full of vigilance. Routines. It's all routines. This guy must have plans for me. Wang Tang was dumbfounded. What's with the vigilance on your face? People who don't know, think I'm some kind of human trafficker. Lin Chuhan gave Wang Tang a hard look, and said coldly, "No." After finishing speaking, she got up, carried her school bag, and ran out of the classroom, as if staying with him for a while would cause accidents. Baffling. Wang Tang shook his head speechlessly. Are you that scary, to let this chick avoid her like a snake and a scorpion? Brother Wang Tang, go eat. At this moment, Shu Jia's voice came in from outside the classroom. Wang Tang got up and walked out. Shu Jia is also a senior high school student, but he is in the third 12th class of high school, not in the same class as Wang Tang. And Bai Wei and Yu Hao are sophomores studying in Donghai No. 1 middle school, a year younger than the two of them. Generally, they will not go home to eat at noon. Most of them will have a meal in the school cafeteria, and sometimes they will eat in restaurants outside the school. When Wang Tang and Shu Jia arrived at the cafeteria was already overcrowded, and the noise almost knocked off the roof. At this time, Shu Jia's WeChat phone rang. He took it out and looked at it, and said, "Let's go directly to the second floor, Bai Wei and the others are waiting for us there." The second floor is much more spacious than the first floor. Walking to the second floor, the air conditioner is cool, and there are not so many people, so it doesn't look crowded at all. The consumption level on the second floor is much higher than that on the first floor, and ordinary students will not come to the second floor to eat. As soon as they came up, they took a glance and saw Bai Wei and Yu Hao sitting on the right seat. The food has been ordered, and it is still steaming, obviously it has just come out of the pan. This is also the characteristic of the second floor. Not only are the meals exquisite and delicious, but they are all cooked to order. Unlike the first floor, they are all prepared and plated. Whatever the students order, the aunts in the cafeteria will serve them. Many of the spoons used to make dishes are common. After making this dish, you can directly make another dish. Several flavors are mixed together, which is called a sour taste. Have you tried Western red scrambled eggs with twice cooked pork and fish flavored eggplant with? Once you try it, you won't want to try it a second time. Moreover, sometimes it was a little later, and all they ate were leftovers, not to mention the cold pile, and they were all vegetable root juice. The four of them talked and laughed while eating. Halfway through eating, Yu Hao suddenly pointed in one direction and said, "Isn't that Yuan Zhenghua?" Xu Jia and Bai Wei immediately looked at his fingers. "Hey, it's really this kid." Xu Jia sneered. "The pig's head next to him is it Li Rongcheng?" Bai Wei suddenly widened her eyes and said doubtfully, "What pig head?" Xu Jia and Yu Hao were taken aback at the same time, and then took a closer look. "Hiss, haha, it's really Li Rongcheng, first young Master Li, why did he turn into such a ghostly look?" The two were startled, and then they couldn't help laughing. Could it be? As soon as Bai Wei said, Xu Jia and Yu Hao also suddenly thought of something, and looked at Wang Tang with strange expressions. Wang Tang looked at Li Rongcheng's appearance, and thought that he seemed to have let the other party take the blame that night at the Rose Bar, so he coughed dryly and said, "Don't talk nonsense about things without evidence." Wang Tang's innocent face, as if he had nothing to do with himself, made Xu Jia and Yu Hao laugh again. Bai Wei was trying to hold back her laughter, and it was very hard to hold back. As a result, when they laughed, she couldn't hold it back any longer, and laughed together with the two of them. Li Rongcheng has been in a bad mood these 2 days. Yesterday he went to the Rose Bar to play, and by the way, he picked up 2 social ladies, and went to the hotel to chat about life and ideals. Seeing that the young lady was about to slap her, a group of scumbags broke into the door and yelled, "Which one is Li Rongcheng? Get out!" Li Rongcheng was so angry at that time, he stood up with a bang, and cursed, "I am Li Rongcheng, which dog chain is not fastened, let you out these crazy dogs." That group of people were also so angry that they rushed up and put Li Rongcheng in a sack regardless of what happened. Li Rongcheng probably didn't expect that this group of people were all junior or intermediate warriors. Although he is a high-level martial artist, facing this group of junior and intermediate warriors, he is no match for 4 hands. What's more, he didn't expect that the other party would dare to do it directly. He was caught off guard, and he was also inexperienced, so he hit the road in an instant. The group of people knocked Li Rongcheng unconscious and took him to an abandoned warehouse. The shady young man Zhao Gangbao was waiting there. When he saw Li Rongcheng was tied up and the sack was still unopened, he called his younger brother to go up and beat him up. After the beating, the sack was opened. At this glance, the person is wrong. A group of people looked at each other, and Zhao Gangbao cursed angrily, and then vented all his anger on Li Rongcheng. Next, there was another horrible fat beating. At that moment, Li Rongcheng was completely dumbfounded. Who I am? Where am I going? Zhao Gangbao and the others vented their anger and left, leaving Li Rongcheng lying on his back on the ground of the abandoned warehouse, shedding tears of grievance and helplessness. From the beginning to the end, he didn't know what happened. Later, with trembling hands, he took out his mobile phone and called 120 before he was sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. Fortunately, it was only a traumatic injury, and Li Rongcheng was a high-level martial artist. His physique was several times stronger than that of ordinary people, and he recovered quickly from his injuries. That's why he can come to school alive and kicking today. However, there was always a fire in his heart, and he didn't like anyone. One morning passed, and every student saw him with a strange expression on his face, wanting to laugh but not daring to laugh. Several classmates who were secretly laughing were all beaten up by him. Now he came to the cafeteria to eat, but as soon as he went upstairs, he heard a burst of laughter, and the fire in his heart burst out instantly. His face turned blue with anger. Timas, Why are you laughing? Li Rongcheng walked towards Wang Tang and the others aggressively. Xu Jia was not a good person either. He stood up and said, I'm laughing at me, it's none of your business. Everyone knows that although the Li family is much stronger than their Xu family, it is impossible for the family affairs to be fought to the death because of the conflict between the two juniors. The matter between the juniors will solve it by themselves. This is everyone's default rule. If the elders end up, they will throw their face on the ground and step on it. They are all respectable people, and they value face the most, so they won't lose face for such a trivial matter. In the past, Xu Jia might have been a little timid in the face of Li Rongcheng, a high-ranking martial artist, but now, he believes that he has Wang Tang's backing, so naturally he is not afraid of him. Xu Jia, you are so cowardly, dare to talk to me like that. Li Rongcheng laughed grimly, and suddenly punched Xu Jia in the face. Xu Jia was depressed. Li Rongcheng didn't play his cards according to the routine. Between the rich second generation, shouldn't they be forced to say a few words first? When you come up, you are violent. Where do you put the dignity of our rich second generation? He didn't know that Li Rongcheng was angry all day today, and would explode at the slightest irritation. This punch was strong, and the strong wind made Xu Jia's cheeks hurt. He had no doubt that if the punch was real, his nose would collapse completely. Finish bird. Xu Jia couldn't help closing his eyes. But the pain he imagined did not appear. He slightly opened a gap, and saw a hand firmly grasping Li Rongcheng's wrist, making him unable to move an inch. Young Master Li, you are too angry. Wang Tang said slowly. Wang Tang. Li Rongcheng was shocked. Everyone knew that Wang Tang was notoriously ignorant, but now the other party showed impressive martial arts strength. Yuan Zhenghua was also standing beside Li Rongcheng. His eyes widened at this time, with an incredulous look on his face. He was also a friend of Wang Tang and the others before. It's just that later he turned to Li Rongcheng and severed ties with Wang Tang and the others. But for so long, he has not discovered that Wang Tang has such strength. Xu Jia slowed down, stood behind Wang Tang with lingering fear, glared at Yuan Zhenghua triumphantly, and laughed at his blindness. Li Rongcheng struggled hard, and found that no matter how hard he tried, Wang Tang's hand was like steel, tightly holding his wrist, and he couldn't break free no matter what. Let go. Li Rongcheng's face was livid, and he shouted in a low voice. Wang Tang immediately let go. Li Rongcheng was still pushing back, and suddenly sat down on the ground. Li Xiao, why are you so careless? Hurry up, it's cold on the ground. Wang Tang said with concern. You. Li Rongcheng pointed at Wang Tang, so angry that he didn't know what to say. He got up from the ground and said fiercely, Wang Tang, I didn't expect you to hide your strength. No matter what the reason is, the two of us have tied the knot today. Do you have the guts to fight with me? Yes. Wang Tang put away his smile, looked directly at him and replied. Okay, after school in the afternoon, let's have a showdown in the gymnasium. After Li Rongcheng finished speaking, he turned and walked downstairs. Yuan Zhenghua glanced at Wang Tang, but did not dare to meet his gaze, and quickly followed Li Rongcheng. Young Master Li, are we going to stop eating? Eat Nima fart and eat, I'm full of gas. After Li Rongcheng left, Bai Wei asked worriedly, Brother Wang Tang, do you really want to fight him? Before Wang Tang could speak, Yu Hao said first, in martial arts competition, since you agree, you must fight. This is the rule. Little mouse, what you said is wrong. Wang Tang laughed suddenly. Yu Hao looked at him suspiciously. Wang Tangkai said again, rules are made by people. Whether you want to abide by these rules or not depends entirely on yourself, as long as you don't go against your heart. Yu Hao was confused and could not understand what he meant. Brother Wang Tang, are you sure you can defeat Li Rongcheng? Xu Jia asked. Not sure, will I agree? Wang Tang asked with a smile. Okay, don't worry, sit down and finish your meal, then go back to rest, and we'll talk about things after school. After school, if you compete, we have to go together, Bai Wei said. Good. In the afternoon, the three classes are physics, mathematics and biology. In each class, the teacher and classmates lost a lot of attribute bubbles, which made Wang Tang's cultural class attributes increase a bit. He didn't take the competition with Li Rongcheng to heart at all, so he did what he should do. Throughout the day, Wang Tang wandered in the ocean of knowledge, until after school at 5:30, he still had something to say. He felt that in his previous life, he must have been delayed by the name of the rich second generation. Otherwise, he must be a good student who loves to learn. Fortunately, although I missed it in my previous life, I still have a chance in this life. From now on, we must be a good student with all-round development of morality, intelligence and physique. Thinking about it this way, Wang Tang suddenly felt that the red scarf on his chest became more colorful. As soon as the bell rang for the end of get out of class, all the students of the school rushed out of the classroom. Wang Tang had nothing to pack, so he just threw the books in the drawer and he was done. After reuniting with Xu Jia, Bai Wei and others, the four walked towards the gymnasium together. Unlike Wang Tang, who looked relaxed and without the slightest worry, the three of them, Xu Jia and Bai Wei, kept exchanging glances, hesitating to speak. Bai Wei plucked up her courage, smiled at Wang Tang, and said, "Brother Wang Tang, why don't we go have a meal first, and we will have the strength to fight when we are full." Yeah, why don't we go eat first? That guy Li Rongcheng is so busy, it's okay to ask him to wait a little longer. Maybe he went to eat too. Xu Jia and Yu Hao also nodded in agreement, and the three talked to each other. Quote? Wang Tang said speechlessly, "It is not advisable to exercise just after eating, as your stomach will sag." Well, the three of them immediately realized that they seemed to have made a silly suggestion. Okay, you don't have to worry. Although Li Rongcheng is a high-level martial artist, he is not my opponent. Wang Tang naturally saw their worry and comforted him. "Brother Wang Tang, aren't you an intermediate warrior, but a senior warrior?" Yu Hao asked in shock. Wang Tang nodded. The three were shocked inexplicably. Senior warrior. Wang Tang is really a senior warrior. Although he knew that Wang Tang was a warrior, senior warrior and intermediate warrior were completely different concepts. Senior warriors can apply for martial arts majors, and becoming a warrior in the future is almost a certainty, and the gap between them and Wang Tang will only become wider and wider. It's incredible. A person of the same age, and a person of the same age who is usually very familiar with, thought that everyone was the same, but the other person soared into the sky. We agreed to throw ourselves into dogs together, but you managed to get out of it secretly. Such complex emotions suddenly emerged in the hearts of several people. Not long after, the four came to the gymnasium. Every school attaches great importance to the students who practice martial arts. In order to provide them with training venues, a floor will be specially set aside in the gymnasium. Gymnasium, second floor. Li Rongcheng leaned against the wall with his arms folded, looking impatient for waiting. Yuan Zhenghua stood beside him, holding water and towels again, like a dog leg. Seeing him like this, Xu Jia became angry. This kid, it's not right to be a good person, he insists on being someone else's dog. You're finally here. Li Rongcheng turned his head, narrowed his eyes slightly, and stared at Wang Tang dangerously. Young Master Li came early enough, shouldn't he be skipping class? Wang Tang teased. Stop talking nonsense, I use a knife, what weapon do you use, choose one yourself. Li Rongcheng said impatiently. Just like you, use a knife. Wang Tang walked aside and took a standard long knife from the weapon rack. The back of the knife is not thick, and the blade is slightly longer, a bit like the Tang knife of the previous life. Wait, it was a little light. He shook his head secretly, it seemed that he had to find time to get a weapon. Just use it. Wang Tang took the knife and walked across to Li Rongcheng. When Xu Jia and Bai Wei saw that they had used their weapons, their faces turned pale instantly. Why did you use your weapons? What if you get injured? What do you think? This is a fighting game, not a housekeeping game. Yu Hao took a deep breath and said. Even though he said that, after all, he had just become a low-level warrior, and it was the first time he had seen such a battle. Wang Tang, your strength is indeed not weak, and you should have reached the level of a senior warrior. To be honest, I'm surprised. Everyone has been mistaken. You hide it very deeply. However, if you compare swords with me, who gave you the confidence? Li Rongcheng was a little disdainful. He started practicing martial arts at the age of 15, and became an advanced martial artist in 3 years. In these 3 years, he only practiced swords, and he had already achieved great success in basic sword skills. Therefore, He has the capital of conceit. At the same time, it was funny that Wang Tang dared to use a knife in front of him. Let's get started, Wang Tang said directly without saying much. Good. Li Rongcheng's eyes widened and he shouted violently. There was a sudden step on the foot. There was a muffled sound of boom, as if there was a wave of air rolling over. Under the powerful recoil, his whole body rushed towards Wang Tang like an arrow off the string. At that moment, Yuan Zhenghua and Xu Jia were all horrified by the ferocious aura. But Wang Tang, who was the first to bear the brunt, did not change his expression at all. Li Rongcheng thought he was frightened, and the expression on his face became even more disdainful. The long knife was held high, and it was simply slashed downwards. Just when the long knife was about to touch Wang Tang's body, Wang Tang shook suddenly and appeared on the right side of Li Rongcheng. Li Rongcheng's face suddenly changed when he slashed into the empty space. Forcibly twisting his body, the long knife slashed at Wang Tang at a 180-degree angle. Clang! When the two knives were handed over, there was a deafening metal trill. Boom! Immediately afterwards there was another muffled sound. Li Rongcheng didn't know what was going on, but felt a pain in the back of his head and completely lost consciousness. Weak. Too weak. Wang Tang shook his head. Basic knife skills 20. Strength 12. He picked up the attribute bubble dropped by Li Rongcheng, walked to the side and put the knife back. At this time, Yuan Zhenghua and Xu Jia were suddenly shocked and looked at Wang Tang in a daze. The fight just now seemed simple, but the exaggerated speed of the senior warriors dazzled the four of them. As the saying goes, experts watch the way, and laymen watch the excitement. The four of them were just watching the fun, and even Yu Hao wasn't much of an expert. So there is a kind of incomprehensible, but very powerful feeling. Especially this time is too short. 3 seconds, or 5 seconds. I haven't played much yet, it's time for Li Rongcheng. They watched Wang Tang put away the weapons, and then walked over, seeming to be muttering something. Too weak, how could it be so weak? Impossible. The four of them were speechless collectively. A dignified senior warrior, one of the 5 strongest students in Donghai number 1 middle school, Wang Tang actually thinks he is weak. Brother, we are all old acquaintances, so don't be so pretentious, okay? However, this also shows Wang Tang's strength from the side. Li Rongcheng may not be weak among the students of Donghai number 1 middle school, but Wang Tang is stronger than him, and much stronger. Let's go home and eat. Wang Tang greeted the three of Xu Jia and walked downstairs. Xu Jia and Bai Wei hurriedly followed, leaving Yuan Zhenghua standing there alone. He didn't dare to greet Wang Tang. Such Wang Tang made him feel strange and scary. In the past, Wang Tang was ignorant, but he didn't dare to offend Wang Tang just because his family background was better than his. But now, he was afraid of Wang Tang himself. He once betrayed Wang Tang, will he hold grudges in his heart? What if one day you are unhappy and want to trouble yourself? Thinking of this, Yuan Zhenghua panicked immediately, and looked at Li Rongcheng who was lying unconscious on the ground. It seemed that Li Rongcheng couldn't cover himself. For a moment, a kind of regret filled his heart. Get out of the gym. The three of Xu Jia were extremely excited, and they didn't stop talking halfway. Strong. It's too strong. Brother Wang Tang, are all high-level warriors so strong? For ordinary people, high-level warriors are quite strong. Wang Tang lit a cigarette, took a deep breath, exhaled slowly, and said calmly. Haha, that's great. No one will dare to bully us with your protection in the future. Xu Jia laughed loudly. Brother Wang Tang, do you think I can be as strong as you in the future? Yu Hao secretly clenched his fists and asked enviously. Practice well, it's not difficult for a high-level martial artist. Wang Tang said. Bai Wei didn't speak at the side, but her gaze always fell on Wang Tang from time to time, and a sweet smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. The four parted ways at the school gate, and went home to find their mothers. On the way home, Wang Tang kept thinking, why is Li Rongcheng so weak? This is not pretending, but he really thinks that Li Rongcheng is too weak. When he was driving on the road and saw a vehicle speeding by, he suddenly realized it. Speed. That's right, it's speed. His speed was much faster than Li Rongcheng's, so in his opinion, Li Rongcheng's attack was too slow. So slow that he only used 2 moves, and knocked Li Rongcheng unconscious to the ground. The speed attribute on the attribute panel is not very intuitive. Wang Tang has been picking up attributes to improve, but he has never tried how fast it is. It suddenly broke out today, but Li Rongcheng was powerless to fight back. In the evening, after Wang Tang went home and finished his meal, he went to the Jixing Martial Arts Hall for training, picking up attributes to improve himself. And for the next few days, his life was uneventful. Attending classes during the day, picking up attributes to improve cultural class knowledge, and occasionally molesting the cold beauty at the same table, living a happy life. And after a few days, his culture class has improved rapidly, and now he is sure to get 90% in the direct test. This level is completely enough, and he doesn't plan to take the liberal arts number 1. Besides, it's not much better than before. In the evening, he unshakably went to the Jixing Martial Arts Hall to sign up for training, and picked up attributes to improve his martial arts cultivation. Now his various martial arts attributes have already broken the limit of high-level warriors. Perception, 51. Physique, 121. Power, 1356. Speed, 632. Combat skills. Basic boxing techniques detailed, basic body skills detailed, basic sword techniques detailed, basic knife techniques detailed. Knowledge. Basic subjects, full score. The limit of a high-level martial artist is 100 constitution, 1000 kilograms strength, and 4 seconds for a speed of 100 meters. But now his attributes have surpassed. He specially tested the speed before, and it has reached the level of 2 seconds per 100 meters, which is much faster than the limit speed of a senior warrior. Don't look at it as if it is only 2 seconds away. Many people may not be able to complete the leap in 3 to 5 years. Thinking about how hard it is to break the world records of those 100-meter champions in previous lives, you can understand the difficulty. Coupled with the basic body skills at the subtle level, it is almost crushing against opponents who are also high-level warriors. I have to mention here that Wang Tang's various basic combat skills have reached the micro level. What is nuanced? As the name suggests, it is meticulous, and it is a step closer to the foundation of consummation. Just how powerful are the micro-level combat skills? Simply give a chestnut. If you are also attacked, if you have a perfect level of basic agility, you need to avoid a distance of more than half a meter. On the other hand, if you have a basic movement technique at the subtle level, you can attack close to the place without getting hurt, and the distance between them does not even exceed a few centimeters. The gap between these can only be truly revealed in actual combat. It can be said that Wang Tang's current strength is only one step away from being a formal warrior. Once he cultivated the force, he could become a formal warrior. On Friday, after class, Wang Tang went home as usual. Driving on the road, looking at the scenery outside the car window, but thinking in my heart how to get a copy of the original force cultivation method. At this stage, he is called a quasi-warrior. After practicing the original force, he can complete a qualitative change. But the original force technique is not the basic combat skills of warriors. Anyone can learn something like gymnastics. The teaching of origin force exercises has always been strictly controlled. Either pass the martial arts exam and enter university study, the degree of freedom is the highest. Either go to the martial arts hall to apply for the quasi-martial artist assessment, and if you pass the examination and your identity is no problem, the martial arts hall will teach you the original force technique. In this way, he became a martial artist named in the martial arts hall, which was equivalent to being tied to the same boat as the martial arts hall. Or become a vassal of some families, gain the trust of the other party, and may be taught the original force technique, but it is equivalent to signing a contract of selling oneself. The martial arts exam has to wait until after the college entrance examination, and you have to enter a university to study. It will take too long, so I won't consider it for the time being. Go to the martial arts hall to apply for the quasi-martial artist assessment. No. Wang Tang's family knows his own affairs. He has only practiced martial arts for a long time, and he is about to become a martial artist. If you are targeted by someone with malicious intentions, you will be in constant trouble. Then, become a vassal of the warrior family. Come on, he is also a rich second generation after all, so he loses points for being a licking dog. Boom! Just as he was thinking, there was a sudden explosion in front of him. Billows of smoke rose. The intersection ahead was blocked for some unknown reason, and the car in front of Wang Tang stopped suddenly, apparently rear-end. Although Wang Tang reacted extremely quickly, he immediately stepped on the brakes. But the distance was too close. The car rushed forward in inertia, and hit the rear of the car in front with a bang. Beep beep, beep beep. In an instant, the horn of the car and the alarm sounded together. The scene was once chaotic. The road was completely paralyzed. Wang Tang frowned and had to get out of the car to see what happened. I have to go home for dinner. What's up, Nok Nima? What are you doing? The car has been crashed. Car drivers poked their heads out of the car, cursing endlessly. Danger. Extremely dangerous. It was also the first time for Wang Tang's 2 lives to be directly hit in the head with a gun. Between life and death, there is great terror. Although he was reborn once, he didn't really experience death. That time he completely fell asleep and then woke up again. It is completely incomparable with the current situation. The black muzzle of the gun is like the mouth of a terrifying giant beast. Behind the mouth is the gloomy hell, waiting to swallow him in one mouthful. Fear, horror. For a moment, Wang Tang's whole body stiffened, and his soul couldn't help trembling. After all, he is just an ordinary person. Even though he has practiced martial arts in his life, he has never encountered such a battle. And at such a close distance, he could clearly see the silver lines on the body of the pistol. Force rune. Therefore, this is a rune gun, which poses a fatal threat to high-level warriors and even warriors. Even if his speed reached 100 meters in 2 seconds and his body skills were subtle, he didn't dare to move around with the rune gun on his head. Wang Tang cursed secretly in his heart, and then decisively persuaded him. Counseling in seconds. Without any hesitation, if you say cowardly, you will be cowardly. Don't shoot, I will cooperate. Wang Tang quickly said that he was afraid that the other party would be unhappy, and he would collapse with a single shot. No cowardice. It's so scary, I can't help but shiver. Be honest, don't try to play tricks, or let you taste the taste of a gun. Scarface pushed Wang Tang, and said in a vicious voice. Wang Tang was forced to join their escape team. He observed secretly, there were 5 people in this group, each of them was carrying a rune gun. Judging from their aura, they were at least mid-level warriors. When Wang Tang glanced over the 3 of them, he couldn't help but pause. They were all carrying a big bag, stuffed inside, and a lot of banknotes could be vaguely seen through the gap where the zipper was not tightened. Didn't this group rob the bank? I remember that there is indeed a bank not far ahead. Wang Tang suddenly felt that something was wrong. He seemed to be involved in a very troublesome matter. So they were just passing by, and I accidentally became a hostage. Wang Tang was a little speechless. He felt innocent and unlucky. When I got home, I ran into a robber. It's fine if it happens, why so many people don't arrest him, but they just take him as a hostage. Isn't this bullying? Little did he know that the scarred face was watching him drive a supercar, and the rich second generation had more weight than ordinary people, so he was taken hostage. Under the auspices of a group of robbers, Wang Tang turned into a small alley, and then ran around in the small alley for an unknown amount of time. He pretended to have a kidney deficiency, and was out of breath within 2 steps. What the hell, this rich second generation sleeping woman must have slept too much, it's just like this. One of the robbers didn't know whether it was envy or jealousy. Seeing Wang Tang's displeasure, he cursed disdainfully. Otherwise, he will be killed directly, and it will be in the way. Another robber wearing a hat said fiercely. Fog grass. When Wang Tang heard this, he was shocked. This person is too ruthless, isn't he just running slower? Killing people at every turn, do you want to be so cruel? Don't kill me, I can run, and I can definitely keep up with you. Wang Tang said in panic. Forget it, it's all brought here, it's not too short of 2 steps, just wait until you get off and get in the car. The robber in the lead said. They ran for another 10 minutes. Although Wang Tang looked exhausted, he still kept up with their speed. On the side of an old street, a white van was parked. A robber opened the car door and stuffed Wang Tang in, and the van started up with a roar. The van speeds through the city. Suddenly, there was a sound of a police car honking from behind the car. The police are coming. The robber who was driving slapped the steering wheel and stepped on the accelerator, and the van rushed out suddenly. Listen to the van in front. Pull over immediately, pull over immediately. Sand sculpture. The robber who was driving put his hand out of the car and gave a middle finger to the rear. Go to the right and get on the viaduct, the lead robber said calmly. The robber who drove the car immediately turned the steering wheel. The front of the car turned sharply, the rear of the car swung horizontally for a certain distance, and a long trace was drawn on the ground, and then moved quickly to the right. The police car behind rushed forward a long way before it hurriedly stopped the car, turned around and chased after the van. Police cars and vans are chasing each other on the main road. Many vehicles collided and caused traffic jams, with road rage drivers sticking their heads out and yelling. Listen to the van in front, if you don't stop, we will shoot. The robbers paid no attention to it. Snapped. What followed was a gunshot, but it was fired into the sky. There were so many people in the urban area that the police did not dare to shoot indiscriminately. This shot is purely for deterrence. But the robbers are not good at it. The more intimidating they are, the more vicious they are. Scarface directly pointed the gun at Wong Tang, leaned out of the car, and shouted, "If you dare to shoot, I will kill him first." Wong Tang felt like a rag doll, weak and helpless. The van was speeding on the viaduct, and the wind blew his hair, making him feel messy. Who did I provoke and whom did I provoke? Wong Tang was speechless and asked the sky. The police car in the back was really wary and didn't dare to shoot again. The scarred face pulled Wong Tang back into the car. He proudly said to the other robbers, "Look, this is the benefit of taking hostages." Good job. The lead robber was generous with his praise. Wong Tang rolled his eyes, and complained in his heart, "You are such a clever little ghost." It's a pity that they were happy too early. More than a dozen police cars chased and intercepted them all the way. The robbers underestimated the determination of the police. Even though these robbers were very cunning, they were finally blocked in front of an office building. Isn't it just to spend some money? As for chasing after him so closely. Shut up, the leading robber shouted with a cold face. They had to get out of the car, carried Wong Tang, and retreated into the office building. You have been surrounded, quickly disarm and surrender. The police's loudspeaker continued to blare. The robbers ignored it and rushed into the office building directly. It was already time to get off work, most people had already left work, and there was no one in the hall. Several robbers made it to the third floor, probably trying to gain the upper ground. The third floor is a clothing design company, where several professional men and women are still working overtime, and most of them are women. Several robbers kicked the door open and rushed in. Snapped. One of the robbers fired a shot. The yelling from several female white-collar workers turned into terrified screams. The lead robber pulled the trigger on a middle-aged woman, who was immediately shot in the thigh and screamed. This middle-aged woman seems to have a high position in the company. Before the robbers rushed in, she was scolding her subordinates, but in a blink of an eye, she became so miserable. Seeing the blood, several other female white-collar workers screamed again. "Shut up, whoever yells again, I will kill her directly." The leading robber shouted coldly. Those white-collar workers covered their mouths one after another, for fear that they would make the slightest noise and be killed by the robbers as if they were young birds. The middle-aged woman who was shot also tried her best to suppress the humming in her throat because of the pain. There was cold sweat all over her forehead. Wong Tang frowned. These robbers were really vicious. They didn't care about human life at all. They were simply insane. Go to the corner and squat down with your head in your arms. Who dares to make trouble? Be careful that my gun doesn't have eyes. The robber waved his gun and asked everyone to squat in the corner. Wong Tang was not so lucky. He was grabbed to the window and looked down. A dozen or 20 police cars surrounded the office building, and each policeman pointed his gun at the windows of the building. "Brother, what should we do?" Dao Scar asked with an ugly expression on his face. The leading robber didn't answer, and fired a shot, scaring the police below to hide behind the bunker. "Listen to me, within an hour, prepare a helicopter for us. If we don't see the helicopter for more than 1 minute, we will kill 1 hostage. If we don't see the helicopter for more than 2 minutes, we will kill 2, until the kill is over." His words were heard not only by the police, but also by Wong Tang and the other hostages in the building. The employees of those fashion design companies all turned pale with fright. Wong Tang's heart also lifted, his face was ugly. But 5 robbers, 5 rune guns, he was not sure. It seems that one can only hope that the police will have the helicopter ready on time. Time passed slowly, and an hour passed quickly. However, the helicopter did not appear. The hostages looked desperate. It's going to be more than a minute soon. If we don't arrive, we can only kill one hostage. The leading brother shouted to the police car below. Don't be impulsive, the helicopter is already on the way, and it will arrive soon. The person in charge below was sweating profusely, and shouted with a loudspeaker. The lead robber didn't say a word. Looking at his appearance, it seems that no matter what the reason, as long as the time exceeds, he will kill someone. 1 minute is gone in a blink of an eye. Boy, you, come here. The lead robber pointed at Wang Tang and said. It's unlucky for you, kid. Scarface grinned grimly, and pushed Wang Tang towards the lead robber. Wang Tang sighed, thinking that he must have missed the almanac when he went out today, which is why he was so unlucky. He thought that as a hostage honestly, he would release himself when the robber's goal was achieved, but now it seems that he thought it was easy. You can't sit still. There's no way out. They want to kill me, but I don't want to die. I'm still young, and I've finally been reborn. How can I die here? Absolutely not. No one can kill me. My new life has just begun. There are still many regrets that need to be made up, and there are still many things that have not been done. In this life, I still want to be filial to my parents. I want to become a strong martial artist and make them proud. I also want to see what the other world looks like. I don't want to die. I don't want to die, so I can only kill them. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.